love it, you wear it. What's your style? Get your merch at shop.eslgaming.com.
To be brilliant is to defy convention and challenge expectations. So Intel will bring the processing power for when it's time to go. Brilliant. Frame rates that keep up with your reflexes. Brilliant. Fast clock speeds for when you're on the clock. Brilliant. It's what we do at Intel, powering you to master your potential. Will you rise? Intel. Unleash your brilliance.
Last year, we took 2 lucky winners on a trip to Berlin and gave them the experience of a lifetime. This year, we can take you for a trip to Rio. Take part in a series of GG.bet contests for a chance to win awesome prizes and a trip to Rio. See details on the website.
Seems like I can't get away from the hot sun. Always night and never day. Even when I wash the floor, the dust still comes. Keep on hoping for the break. No matter how lost, need no light, no spark. I'm in line mode. With my eyes closed, I can see in the dark. I'm a quiet storm. Far from calm, I know you feel me, brother. Seems like I can't get away from the hot sun. Always night, it's never day. Even when I watch the floor, the dust will come. Keep on hunting for the prey. No matter how lost, need no light, no spark. I'm in line mode. With my eyes closed, I can see in the dark. I'm a quiet storm. Far from calm, I know you feel me, brother. I was running round so many nations. Even when it's so sweet, I end up seeing red. Is it such a ghostly revelation? I may have fucked up all my chances. And we ain't sleeping on the floor again. We never sleeping on the floor again. For the ones who didn't make it out, for the ones that didn't see the light, for the ones that never cared, never gave a thought, found no happiness in that brand new car, or the house you bought.
ESL 1 Road to Rio is brought to you in part by Intel, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, and GG.bet.
Here it is, everybody, that road to Rio that I ever so much promised you before we went to the break. We do have Gambit youngsters taking on Team Spirit within the confines of the online world. Now, this one is the beginning of our CIS regional matchups that we have to cover here for the ESL 1 Road to Rio. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Trace, and alongside of me is Harry and Hugo. And these guys, they have too much knowledge on these teams.
Yeah, man, way too much.
Really set the bar high there, Trace.
Way too much to fit into this death segment, perhaps, right? And that's maybe where we're going to have to begin, Trace. Thank you very much for the warm introduction.
No problem,
And yeah, Gambit youngsters versus Team Spirit. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at Team Spirit as perhaps the favourites coming into this one, right? Certainly the more seasoned, grizzled roster out of the two, right? Some names that people will be more familiar with over on that side of things. I think as well, another good talking point is a man like iDisbalance, right? I've always loved watching him on the orb. I'm a big fan, and I think he's going to really bring some heat in the server.
Which would make sense. I mean, when we start to look at these teams, though, we need to kind of identify who it is that's going to be playing on either side of the table. I'm talking about the rosters as they stand. In this one, well, we're going to start with the Gambit youngsters. Now, they are youngsters outside of the game, but perhaps not so much inside of the game when it comes down to the veterancy that they're going to display in the server, or look to display even. As we do bring in our first guest of the show from this side of the match, he's got a smile on his face. I can see it from this far away. It's young Nafany. What's up, Naf?
I'm fine, and you?
Not bad, man. We're just looking to see what you guys have to offer in the server. It's some exciting stuff around here. Can you tell us anything about the current setup of the team and the Gambit youngsters?
We are really hard practice for this tournament, so I guess we should show our fans really good game. At least I believe in it, so that's all.
Nafany, you've got a guy named Shiro on your team. He's been drawing a lot of attention inside of this roster as a really, upcoming talent. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Shiro as a player and what makes him so good.
I know him like 2 years right now, so I can say he's a really good player. I guess one of the best in our region. Probably close to Simple, I guess, in future.
Okay.
But he have some bad things in his game, but he know how to fix it. So I guess in 2 years he will be top 1 in CIS.
So he's still, adapting, learning how to change his game style up so that it suits the team, so that it fits the team better. Is that about right?
Yeah, you're right.
Cool. Well, Harry's got something for him. What you got?
I was kind of curious, right? So obviously for you guys, like a pretty young roster on paper, right? I don't think you have anyone older than 19. I think that's what we were saying. So that's pretty crazy. I was wondering, coming into this, do you guys have obviously you've got like your kind of heroes of the CIS region. Who would you say would fall into that category? Who are like your role models that you've been looking up to? And, who are the guys that you've been watching and kind of like looking at the VODs of and, just been big into as you move into this?
Actually, I don't know what to say because in our region now every organization try to take young team. I mean, the second roster or something. For example, Navi and some other organizations. So we all try to learn something good from big team like Navi, Virtus.pro, Forza, and other teams. So we are all learning something with each other.
Which is good. I mean, there's learning, there's growth. That's a lot more than I think some teams can even come around to sometimes because they get a little stale, like old bread. But for you guys, being youngsters and coming up to the system, perhaps not even just throughout the region, but who are you looking to in terms of influence? Who is it that you study outside of the game? Or, excuse me, outside of the CIS?
Probably all teams learning something from Astralis, of course, and we too. So probably sometimes we take something from Ants or Fnatic because these teams trying to do good stuff. So we learning from these teams, I guess.
Well, look, man, I'm going to have to get you out of here sooner rather than later. I'm just wondering, is there anything that you want to say to the audience at home? And perhaps you could go for it in Russian if you'd like.
Can you repeat, please?
Is there anything you'd like to say to the fans at home? And you can go in Russian if you'd like.
Окей. Спасибо всем большое, кто нас поддерживает. Это действительно очень важно. Мы действительно стараемся стать лучше. и, как можно заметить, у нас есть некий прогресс. Если смотреть на нас год назад, мы были достаточно юными и несмышленными, но сейчас мы станем лучше.
Cool. Spasiba. Das Vidania, my friend.
Good luck.
Bye. All right. So what did you guys learn?
Yeah, I think it's really cool to get an insight into this team, right? It's such a young roster. It's such an exciting one, and with some real upcoming talents. I mean, Nafany sets the scene there as well. He says in 2 years, Shiro might be as good as Simple. Now, that's quite a statement. We've certainly had players, buff up their own teammates to, upper level. But, from what we have seen from Shiro, it has been impressive. He has a real talent in the online region, right? We haven't seen a whole lot of LAN play from this team. We've had them at a couple of DreamHacks, even Seville last year, but hopefully we get them at Rio. I really think this team could grind their way through the road to Rio.
I mean, there is a team that we have gotten to see over the course of time. That would be the side of Spirit. Now, this is a team that isn't necessarily as stranger to us as it would be the Gambit youngsters. We've seen Spirit in the server. We know what a Sumdai Young can do. We know what some of the players over on this side can do, but ultimately, where do we find them in terms of stacking up against Gambit?
Well, I think coming into this with good reason, Spirit are going to be looked at as the favorites just because they do have, as you touched upon, right, that experience, the kind of, the results have been there. And with this Spirit org as a whole, they've always been fielding like a pretty competitive CIS roster, one that has been able to take, maps and series away from some of the better teams in the world, right? So this is the thing, like Spirit as an org, they're always, I don't want to use the word like gatekeeper, that's maybe the wrong kind of term.
Interesting, Harry.
But you know what I mean? Like, you know how that was always the case? It was always the CIS teams of old that were like those gatekeeper teams back at the major that you had to try and like beat your way past, rather. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, this Team Spirit squad is no different. And now, obviously, you have like some guys there in the form of like Mer and Chopper. These guys are bringing the heat. And then you got Sumdai Young as one of the older faces of the squad still sticking around and still putting up damage in the server.
Yeah, one comparison between these teams is one thing that could work in Spirit's favor is Gambit youngsters, right? Of course, it's great being, everyone's 18 or 19 inside of this team. Everyone's like an upcoming player. Everyone's young, inexperienced. They want to improve. They want to look good, but they don't have anything to fall back on in terms of, having this like capable in-game leader who's had 10 years of experience, who's led teams to victories, who's picked up trophies. They don't have that. So, when things go wrong, when things aren't working, does Nafany have it in him to pull them out of the dirt? And that is a worry for the team that will get answered in the road to Rio. If you flip things over, though, Spirit, they certainly have that. You mentioned it yourself, Chopper, Idis Balance, Mir. These are players who have been all over the CIS scene for years now. And when you combine them with some upcoming young talents such as Sumdai Young or Magix, who's obviously one of the later additions to this team, he's 16 years old. He's younger than anyone on Gambit youngsters. And so that's kind of, a nice mix. I almost prefer it when you bring in the young with the old. Look at teams like Vitality, for example, and look at what they made of that.
And look at this desk, for example. I mean, we've got young and we've got old, and that's just about the way it works. We can begin to talk about map vetoes. Before we do that, I want to ask Harry what the float of his jacket is.
This is fuck new. This is one of the highest floats on the market, Trace. I'm feeling good about it. I got my Hyper Beast on. Don't have one in the game, obviously, but I have one in real life. So
nice. I guess that kind of makes up for it. Anyway, we did say something along the lines of map vetoes. We might as well go ahead and take a look at those and find out what 3 digital playgrounds we're going to have in front of us today. Because between Gambit youngsters and Team Spirit, certainly one of these teams could really get out in front of this and start in terms of the veto to do so. Now, I'm thinking there's a real chance we see some Nuke here. We got Overpass already as our first pick. Perhaps even an Inferno at some point.
Yeah, I mean, Nuke, Vertigo, Instabans. Those are the Instabans for these guys. We don't even have a map played, a map logged for Gambit youngsters on that one. So we're not going to see Nuke ever again. And Vertigo gone as well. We're all about flat maps here at the Road to Rio, apparently. Overpass and Dust too.
Overpass not like the flattest of maps.
More flat than Nuke and Vertigo.
No, I don't know about that one.
What?
Not the Nuke and Vertigo. But Overpass is definitely like third in the chain.
Yeah, sure. Okay, fine. We agree on that.
I'm just disputing calling it a flat map.
Harry,
look, man, I really got to get into these specifics here. Inferno getting removed. Now, that is a flat map. That one gets taken out by Gambit, right? And we can get rid of that. This third, I think maybe we could see something like a Mirage or a train float on through. I mean, that's all it can be at this point in time.
I think Mirage, right? Train's not a good one for Gambit youngsters, but I mean, they haven't vetoed it, and Mirage anyway. So that's a good middle ground map between two teams. Puggy stuff. I mean, that's kind of what we expect. We always talk about like when we look at regions or like domestic matchups. Obviously, the CIS region is a wide region in terms of different countries, but there is still that domestic attribute to them, and these teams are going to know each other and have practiced against each other. So yeah, of course, level of familiarity. I think it makes games more fun though.
Yeah, it really could. And we're going to keep our eye on the games. And of course, to do that, we need to tell you also who we think is going to win as we go into a prediction segment here where things are really up in the air. We're going to start with Hugo. We want to hear his best explanation, and we want to know if you agree. And if you do, you know what social media is to use. In fact, we can go ahead and fly that lower third through at some point so that you guys can know exactly what hashtags to use. Now, Hugo, no pressure, but the eyes of the world are watching.
I think it's Spirit. I think the experience reigns over the young guns of Gambit youngsters. I think they can put up a fight. Don't doubt them taking a map. But in this series, I think Spirit's experience will surely hold more value.
Yeah, I'm also leaning in favor of Team Spirit here, right? But what I would love to see is if Gambit youngsters get into the server, I would love for them to impress us and like really come in swinging here. I'd love to see some big things from Shiro and the boys. So, you know, like my heart is like leaning Gambit, but obviously my brain, I'm kind of just looking at this on paper, and Team Spirit are just the more tenured, more experienced squad. So I'm leaning in favor of them for this one.
Well, your heart and mind are telling you one thing. What is your body telling you, though, Harry?
I mean, my mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me no.
We said all in you. I'm just actually surprised that they got that one. I'm going to go with the side of Gambit youngsters, but only for one reason, and this is the only reason you need to know. So I hope you're sitting down. I hope you got a pen and paper in front of you to write this down. This is going to be Shiro over on the side of Gambit youngsters. This guy's nasty, and I'm not sure that you guys can sway me any differently.
I'm not disagreeing. I know this guy is good, Trace, but is he good enough to beat an entire tenured Team Spirit roster? That's the question on our minds, right? Like, if it is just the Shiro show and no one else showing behind it, that's not a good sign. Obviously, a good sign for Shiro as an individual and as a team, as a player, rather, to market yourself, but as a team, no. That being said, I don't think that's always the case. I'm sure Gambit can put up a fight, especially on their map pick in this series, and that map pick, of course, being Overpass, being the opener to this best of three.
Overpass. And there's no time for us to pass this one over as we look at Gambit youngsters taking on Team Spirit here to kick off the day. The next is going to be Nip versus Astralis. And then, well, we're going to be looking at Gen G and Cloud9 to round the day out. Of course, that was going to be covered by the other guys, also known as Alex, Chad, and Henry, who are probably sitting in the sun right now watching the broadcast at home. So if they are, hello, everybody. Maybe we'll give you guys a call in at some point.
Yeah, we'll consider it. Maybe, you know, they've always wanted to speak to their favorite desk host, that is Trace, of course.
Well, they got Alex. So.
We might grant them that.
Oh. Anyway, we are still waiting to get into the game. We shouldn't be too much longer now. I'm told that if the radio transmissions are coming in right now, I got better service here. Roughly 90 seconds. Yeah, roughly give or take 90, 75 seconds, somewhere around there. Transmissions sometimes to get a little lost.
Yeah, we had one of the graphics just pop up, and it said like favored side for Overpass for either team. For Spirit, it said like, I think it's a T. I don't even remember really. But the thing that was interesting for Gambit youngsters, it said either. And I was like, what do you mean either? And then I look at the stats, and actually for Gambit youngsters on this map, firstly, it's a great map for them. 80% turnover rate. Now, a lot of these teams play online games, and they kind of farm in that sense. So, you know, these stats don't hold as much weight versus the best in the world. But if we look at their CT to T, 50-50, like directly. That's the only time I've ever seen it. 50-50 in rounds one on CT and T.
Harry, is that right down the middle? What is that exactly?
Chase, I don't know about that one, right? Because you guys have made me really overanalyze what right down the middle means. But
I don't know, 50-50? I would say
no, wait, I've checked this.
Yeah, you've done
I've
the
checked the
numbers?
maths.
Okay, cool.
No, it's come in, Trace, that is right down the middle.
Split right down the middle.
Right down the middle.
Exactly.
You actually can't get any more central than this.
And not even more central than like an 8-7 first half on Overpass if you start on the CT side.
Yeah, that's pretty central as well, right? I guess we could call that split right down the middle as well, Trace. Why not?
I think I kind of want to ask you guys at this point. We talked a little bit about the influences that are coming into this game, and you know, just hearing from the side of the Gambit youngsters, they're talking about, hey, you know, we look at Astralis, and then our whole region is kind of all over the place with signing new rosters. I want to know if we can expect to see some of that stuff in the server today.
Well, you know, so you just touched upon something in that interview there, right? So my question, I kind of didn't love it, where I just say, like, you know, who are your heroes? It seems like a kind of floaty one. Like, I'll be real with you.
You were hoping for it to go Simple and Zeus.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And to be fair, like, he has still set me up with a point that I am looking forward to seeing, and that is that, you know, he did mention teams like Na'Vi, teams like Force, it's like the guys that they study, the guys that they look up to. And the reason why that's so cool is they're going to be playing them here in the CIS region. You know, you're going to be going toe-to-toe with the guys that you've been looking up to, and probably the names that got you into Counter-Strike in the first place, which, you know, you kind of imagined that. Like, you know, I don't know how I would feel a couple of hours before I log into the server to play versus someone like Get Right, you know, like on the other team. It would be like a Counter-Strike hero of mine. It would be like a pretty intense kind of emotional feeling for these guys, you imagine.
Well, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, Hugo, but every time we go to play over on ESEA on the smooth 128-tick servers, it's Harry here that really does have the sweatier of palms. I don't know if you've noticed that, Hugo, but do you think it's because he's playing with us? Do you think he's getting that same vibe?
I think it's because he's on those smooth 128-tick servers, Trace. Nothing makes you slip and slide around like the smoothness of those servers. His hands like get nice and wet, and I feel like, you know, let's have a bit of a close-up of this chicken because we're getting into Overpass. It's going to be the first map of this series, a best-of-3 between Gambit Youngsters and Team Spirit. Will age be the solution for Gambit? Every player on this team 19 or 18 years old. It's not often you see it, but these young guns are looking to take over an upset.
Now, I'm real curious, too, on the side of Gambit Youngsters. You know, what happens if they go in here and they just go flawless through the road to Rio? And do they like graduate? Are they not youngsters anymore? Like, what happens there?
Maybe they move to the main Gambit team, right? Like, you never know. That team currently doesn't exist, so
yeah.
maybe.
I mean, it's always a weird one, right? Because we've had like these like you know, like youngsters / like academy
Junior
iterations
teams,
of rosters before, and it does always seem quite funny because there have been times where like those academy teams have started to outperform the main teams, and you do look at it like, something here isn't quite right. There was also like always that, was it North Academy or was it like, did EFRAG have an academy team? It was one or the other. And like the main team just disbanded.
They barely paid their main team, mate.
And then they like still had this academy team floating around and everyone was looking at it like, well, you don't even have a main team anymore. Are we going to see the academy team just get promoted to that? But yeah, you know, let's see, right? I would love for Gambit Youngsters to come in here and surprise us. And in this round, they're going to start off down by Connector. Magix is the man to open this round up with an early kill and a man advantage taken. Team Spirit now, they can just kind of ease back into this defense, right, knowing that the pressure is on for Gambit Youngsters. Supra with a nice one-shot there onto Mir. And Shiro making some noise over here at the long side of the map. He does get tapped down by some Die Young, and so man advantage back in favor of Team Spirit now.
And that bomb was rotating up. Gambit Youngsters really were requiring Shiro to get a kill there. They wanted to hit the A site, and now they're going to just go down below. Now, Spirit aren't here, and Gambit are able to get a plant. That's good, but we know that B site is very retakeable. Supra, though, doesn't want to let it happen. He finds another kill off of this P250, looking for a third. Oh, the spam is there, but the shots do not connect. And now Inters, he's got it all to do and not a lot to do it with. No armor and a decoy. Spirit about to tap this bomb. They've got a kit as well. Chopper can just go for the full defuse, and Inters, he's got to get that player off right here, right now. He can't. Someday Young saves the day, and Team Spirit will find the pistol round in this map.
Well, Team Spirit coming out swinging in the first round. And now they're going to be able to swing around these bomb sites with these rifles.
Gambit straight in with the force as well. Look, this is a decent buy. 2 AKs with utility on Axile, who obviously had his dropped over. Supra found 2 kills off the P250, so he could buy his own with no util. Scout shot as well from Shiro, connecting onto mid down in Monster. Gambit, early B presence for them. They're holding mid passively in the form of Inters, and another man in the connector. So waiting to see if Spirit have any aggression in them. Very focused outside this Monster. They know Gambit Youngsters are sitting outside it, but crawling towards a short area as well. So Gambit have at least another route to hit this B bomb site with. I'd imagine that's where they're ending up, but with nothing seen on A for Spirit, they have no reason to deconstruct this triple Monster setup. Not every day you see 3 players in this position. Chopper playing anti-flash as well. Obviously, a contact short play would be excellent for Gambit Youngsters, but this is the last place they're going to be looking. They're going to be scared of the site, CT, the pit. This is the last position they'd be thinking about.
Unfortunate timing there for Chopper. Still able to help out with some damage, but Supra has just opened this entire B bomb site up. He goes in, gets himself 3. Now does admittedly get traded by some Die Young, but this force buy for Gambit Youngsters is looking real good. I disbalance still with a scout over here in heaven. He's going to look to try and play into this round, helping out Sumdai Young in any way, shape, or form. Thus far, hasn't been able to get a tag off, and that's because this site is still smoked. With no kit in play for Gambit, or for Team Spirit, rather, Gambit youngsters might just be picking this round up, as Team Spirit kind of have to bow out of this one. They've just got to give the respect over, give this first round on the board for the Gambit youngsters side.
And I told you guys Gambit youngsters are going to win this series. Now, I told you that. And what I also need to tell you is that we're going to be trying out some new features here, and I kind of want to put you two up to the test. And I'm not talking about you two out in the audience. I'm talking about you two right here in the studio with me, Harry and Hugo. Now, we do have this match of Overpass on our hands, right? So here's what we'll do.
Right.
We're going to get the chat to participate a little bit.
Uh-oh. Oh, dear.
And it's going to be forehead for Harry.
Yeah.
And Kappa for Hugo. And tell us who you think gave us the best intel in this round. Now, what I want to have happen here is for Harry to cast the round about halfway through. And then we'll switch and we'll let Hugo give his best attempt at the next round. That way we can give ourselves a couple of seconds to compile all the data and the answers.
All right. Take it. Right then. So you really nailed this by talking through my time. But here's a fast B play for Gambit youngsters. They've done this because they know the utility is low for Team Spirit. So they can get in the face of these CTs and get into the bomb site with ease, not get held back by this utility. And now they get that bomb down inside of B. Chopper looking to continue his little tear. Actually just ducks himself out of short, leaves completely, and it might just be the immediate save from Team Spirit. They made the decision to force buy into this round. They lose 2 players immediately, so the hopes of retaking in a 3-on-5 are just out the window. And as a result, they're going to try and hold what they can into the following round, look to try and do some damage with it before they bring the rifles out. With Gambit youngsters taking 2 in a row, they've won the force buy wars, and that means that they should now move on to a 3-1 lead unless these weapons can upset in the following round. There you go. I think I nailed it, Trace. Only take about 20 seconds, but there we go.
I think Harry definitely casted that round better than I casted that round, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I nailed that
that's
one.
Why we bring him down in the next round. We're going to see if we can change it up here. Harry with the leading votes right now. Of course, that's forehead in chat.
Hugo, like, still making a resurgence, obviously.
Yeah,
didn't even get to say a word there, but I love it. I love the Hugo appreciation. He's a lovely guy.
Well,
so go on, man.
Let's see if we can appreciate Hugo in this round. That's going to be Kappa if you want to vote for Hugo. No pressure now. Eyes of the world upon Hugo B. Byron from Bright.
Not where I'm from, but thank you, Trace. Yeah, I mean, this is a hard fight, right? Like Harry said, it was the save guns for Spirit. They're not going to force round. It's a safe decision, looking for the loss bonus that will be building up. And Gambit, we're talking a building. They have got quite the buy on themselves. AWP in the hands of Shiro. Definitely keep your eyes on him as he sets himself towards middle. Sumdai Young with the only M4 in this round, looking to take things away. He's pushed the playground, or at least outside it, with support of the scout from IDIS Balance, so he doesn't have to worry about being left alone on a limb, but he hasn't got any limbs left after that one. Inters finds him quickly coming out of the playground, and Gambit youngsters, a man advantage in this one. It's a slow default. They're not deciding to move at all, but that vote certainly is. It's adjusting just that little bit. I'm ticking over the edge maybe, so keep putting your Kappas in the chat. But
that's live. That's cool. Keep going. Hugo, don't let us stop you here.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I would have if you didn't interrupt, Trace, but you know, there's only so much I can do. And Gambit youngsters, what they want to do is this B bomb site. They want to do it in, and Spirit have stacked this position at Gamble on an eco round. Now, their triple monster play certainly didn't work wonders, but this one could. The flash is in, the first play is out, Magix is down, and a 5-on-3 for Gambit youngsters. They should be able to convert this round. Are they ready for the tight positions? The choke point as Chopper chokes them out. 2 kills off of the Deagle. Inters has to commit here. The Orc can't find a shot. Chopper's on a third. How's it falling apart for Gambit youngsters? They're still taking things by the second. Shiro responds. It's all on IDIS Balance, and he will not balance inside of that B-bomb site. It's Gambit youngsters taking it. It gets messy, but they close it out.
Craziness. Now, I know where my vote would lie. Actually, I don't. It's a house divide.
Where would it? Yeah. Go ahead, Trace.
Somewhere between Kappa and Forehead. It's going to have to be between them two. Now, all things considered, Chopper really putting the work in on that round. He pulled it out and let it spray out there throughout that B-bomb site.
Yeah, you understand why that ends in a B play for Gambit youngsters, right? Like, it's another one of these rounds where they know that there's not really much on the other side, so they can maybe just break down the barrier at B. And with already getting a kill over at the A side of the map, I think they were anticipating that Team Spirit would keep a few more bodies up towards that A site, and then they try run the gauntlet. They're just not ready for the sheer presence of Team Spirit over at the B site. And Chopper landing some phenomenal shots. I think that's a good sign of things to come. Let's see what else he has in the tank in this round. As Gambit now setting up outside of the B site again. They're really keen on this side of the map. And this is looking like it might just be a fast play in and maybe a fast play out of the round as well. It's a very swift exit here for Gambit youngsters. Shiro, the only man remaining, kind of wondering, all right, guys, 4 seconds ago, there were 5 of us. And now that that time has passed, it seems to just be me. I'm probably going to leave. I'm actually heading out. So you guys take care.
Yeah. Just barely out of T-spawn, and they're going to be closing down this vice grip on top of Shiro. Player that we identified as one to watch over here for the side of Gambit youngsters.
Yeah, something to note as well, right? Team Spirit are keeping a very, very heavy stack towards B early on, and with good reason. All we've seen is Gambit youngsters go towards this B bomb site thus far. So we need to see some kind of variation away from that in the coming rounds, because you can't just have Team Spirit and kind of enable them to afford this many players down towards B and then just play around the bits of information they get. It's not uncommon to see more players towards B early on, but you can't keep feeding that beast, right? You need to start to probe the other areas of the map.
Oh, dear. He's open to mid, and Sunday Young will push it. I was going to say as well, you're right, Harry. We saw the effect of that in the previous round, prior to the one we just saw, where SDY pushed mid anyway and took a fight towards Playground. Like, Team Spirit know that Gambit don't have this control, and they're trying to take the players away. But there is a default, at least. Gambit holding early positions, holding early map control, which is what matters. Making sure that Spirit don't do those kind of aggressive plays. And we'll see if that continues here on this T side. Where do Gambit go with more guns? It's a Deagle on Axile. Everyone else is able to afford. But the AKs are truly in for Spirit. They got 3 of them. Alongside a free AWP on IDIS balance, this guy can be quite the nuisance with the AWP. And on the CT side of Overpass, he is truly in his place up on Divided. Oh, what?
Adios.
Man, he really is a chopper. He just flies down. Oh, another. Go on. Oh, he gets a third. Chopper has lit them up down in the connector. Strafing runs from this man have now found Team Spirit 5-3 up in terms of manpower. And my word, Gambit youngsters, they've just been torn apart on an astronomical level in this round. That is so gross. Chopper, stop it. Come on, man. They're youngsters, they're younglings, and here he is, just full-on Anakin Skywalkering them. My goodness. Shiro, the last guy remaining, and here's the revenge. Get out, Chopper, the flat guns are in, but it's only brief. Team Spirit, they're going to take a 3rd round up on the board.
Man, Chopper is feeling himself today.
Look at this.
Complete control.
Bang. Midair. First bullet headshot midair.
Letting it rain.
Oh. That's just filth.
Yeah, the 3K there is not going to taste good for the Gambit youngsters. He goes and grabs a couple more for himself. So Chopper certainly one to watch out for at 11-3 as we look towards the 7th round of play.
Yeah, and now Gambit's been broken. They're on eco in this one. So Spirit, chance to take the lead on the CT side. You didn't even see the flick. It wasn't even on our screens without his balance. He'll make them scream. He's got 1. Second picked up by SDY in the middle, and he can start to lay down the pain with the A1S. No armor for Gambit, so they will just get slaughtered. Even a player coming up con to help out, and with a flashbang from Chopper, that will do exactly what they need. Axile alone, and not for long, he should be joining his teammates in the grave, or back in the T-spawn, more likely. Spirit, 5 alive, 4 on the board, and the buy coming back in for Gambit. I can't even... what?
That's the thing. This is like a classic IDIS balance shot to land as well. Like these are just his bread and butter. And then like he misses the easy shot, like, you know, in quotation marks, onto the guy just kind of stood in mid the second time around. But sure, he hits that flick. And you know, I really think that this little tag team of Someday Young and IDIS Balance that we have over towards this A bomb site is a terrifying duo. IDIS Balance is like a hot AWPing talent, right? He's really impressed us whenever we've seen him in the past. And Someday Young, very, very consistent in his rifling. And I feel like they're going to complement each other well. Even there, right, in this little duel over in top mid, he gets like a late trade onto Inters. Now, Supra has opened up down here in the lower tunnels. He's been someone who's kind of been impressing me thus far in this, but I'm not going to lie, haven't really heard much about him. But thus far, he's been landing some blinders to find these openers for Gambit youngsters. Lots of S's, lots of like pluralization in that sentence. That felt weird.
Now, I do have a little bit of a lull in the action. I just want to go ahead and point out that the average age for the Gambit youngsters 18.8.
Yeah, like I said, not a single person over the age of 19, not a single
No.
person under the age of 18. Like, that's crazy. You never see that, Trace.
Spirit 22.2. So there's a difference here. It's on
Old
numbers.
men.
You can't even lie about it. Old, yeah, they're basically just old at this point.
Yeah, 22, your life's like over at that point, right?
Maybe it'd be like Gambit oldsters at some point, you know?
Oldsters.
Like maybe they just stay youngsters until they're kind of old.
Gambit OAPs.
Gambit elderly.
Gambit assisted living. We'll see. But right now it's Spirit saving their guns on the A side of things. Gambit youngsters get away with a clean-ish round, only losing one player. No AWP for Shiro, but the money was taken away in a couple of rounds ago, and so Spirit is still holding on to that one. Look at Spirit's economy right now. They've got players on 8 to 10,000. That's about to go over the top as well with that round ending. So Spirit in a very good position economically, but again, we're wondering that how many rounds can Gambit get on this T side. We know that when it comes to Overpass, they are 50-50 in their round split via T and CT. Also a rare thing to see.
280R.
Yeah,
Is that rare enough for you? Big Nafany. Not having a good one at it so far.
Yeah, that's some nasty-ass Nafany right now. Not what we wanted, but hopefully he can turn it around moving forward.
If any org was going to make a team called like the Gambit Oldsters or just something like that, I could totally see it being Gambit. You know, like if you'll remember the major that they went on to win just before it, they dropped that Ladder Sedan music video with the Dren. You know, like while all the other teams are prepping away, putting in the hard work.
Look at the stuff they did for Doja in terms of just marketing exposure. It's crazy.
They are wild, man, the Gambit guys.
Yeah.
Like, just,
definitely one of the coolest orgs we have in Counter-Strike.
Definitely not any Zoomers around here. Gambit, a name that certainly has rang some championship bells here within the space of Counter-Strike, but that was a time or two ago, and now they have the youngsters here to try to defend their namesake. And what is a 4-4 game so far?
Oh, bit of a boost up for Viet. That's, well, I was going to say well-timed, but Axel was holding it constantly, so very aware of that possibility. Gambit youngsters with a man advantage. And Spirit got to gamble. Which site do they want to stack? Which site do they want to leave untethered? As the boost is dropped up on the A site, IDIS balance might be left alone. It's very common to see an AWP on its own on A. Heavier B setup, but of course you have the ability to jump spot on that A site pretty safely. And well, no jumping needed because Magix has spotted players down on B. Not the Danish dude, but he's here to lay down the pain. Gambit youngsters trying to push through Monster. They're looking for a fight before they do, because as they enter the tunnel, Magix forces fights and Chopper can come and help out from the sidelines. It is a slaughter from this dynamic duo on B. Supra, he's out through this smoke. He's found a gap. He's found a chance. But if he goes any wider to Monster, will he get spotted? Yes. But the shot missed. Sumda Young jumping does get the kill eventually, but the round's done at that point. Inters with the bomb, and only 5 seconds left. He's too late to do anything here. Spirit are going to have to pick it up as Gambit youngsters save a single gun.
A lot of action going on here in our server, but don't let that distract you from the fact that Chopper not only having a terror here, some other teams are looking to get to the Chopper as it is. And now when I say that, I'm talking about over there on our other stream featuring Stream C, the one that we got to catch up with Mitchman beforehand. Winstrike 11-0 over Team Unique, currently on map 1. The pick of Unique, that being Nuke, go to Vertigo next, the pick of Winstrike, and if that continues, well, you can imagine how that series rounds itself out.
Well, Gambit have been defaulting B most of this game, but they're going to make a move towards middle for a change. Deagle leading the way on Supra. Shiro's got the AWP as well, so hopefully we'll get that head-to-head we've been waiting for as Gambit get closer towards A. Spirit have always got the right reads, and that's because Gambit, I mean, they've been pretty obvious on which side they're defaulting in these rounds, right? They typically have, one player A, one con, 3B. And that's obvious because you're making the noise outside B and you're passively holding on the other 2 positions. So Spirit should know what's going on. And this con boost as well only confirms the fact as well Double long setup with support from iDisbalance's AWP at the site, and it will be about to meet a bit of a fight. Chopper on the corner. Flash should be going through, and it will. Good flash as well. Both CTs blind and gone straight away. iDisbalance will respond, but he's got players on either side of long to deal with, and he can't. He gets a leg as peeked out by Naf, and he saves his teammate's life. Axel knows they're coming from connecting. He's seen this flank, but he can't hold the line, and Gambit need to watch their back.
Yeah, the 2x teammates of Mir and Axel go head-to-head. Mir comes out on top there, 2-on-3, as they try and aggress in towards this A-side retake. That Molotov holding back Magic's just for a moment. Mir now getting up into the site, taps down Supra. Now they know he's at long, but Inter's very low on HP here. That nade is going to finish him off from beyond the grave, and Magic wins the head-to-head out over Nafany. AWP retrieved, and the defuse going to come on through. Team Spirit will put this 6th round up on the board.
He's spinning so fast.
Yeah,
light
man.
speed.
So fast.
Yeah, that was actually good patience on the player coming up long. I think it was Mir. He sets up a grenade. He gets a kill. To cover his teammate. He realizes there's someone in the bank, and there was an AWP in the bank scoped on him. And if Mir goes wide, he probably dies, but he throws a grenade instead. And even though that forces a peek from Nafany, it guarantees the kill on the more difficult player of the two, right? The AWP in the bank, that's such a good position for an AWP. The bomb was planted for it as well, so an important kill from Mir and a clutch from his teammate on the site.
It's kind of interesting, right, when you think about, like, because we always talk about how with like these regional games, you're always going to have some degree of history, right? And with Axel and Mir, they were both in that Gambit squad, right? Obviously, then their paths diverged when everything with that kind of fell apart. Axel moves down into the Gambit Youngsters squad from the main team. And for Mir, he went on to join this Team Spirit organization. I'm pretty happy for Mir because, obviously he came from Vega. He was picked up to be that 5th back in the old Gambit unit. And I don't know, man, it kind of felt like he just got left in all the positions that no one wanted to play. Like that was very much a team that was already established, already had their kind of brand of Counter-Strike, and he was brought in to play around it. And obviously coming from Vega, a team that was very kind of different in its approach to the game, right? We'll say, like, very, very fast, very aggressive, and then expected to just fall in line with this system. I'm happy that he's moved into, like, new waters with this Team Spirit squad. And hopefully we see him feeling more comfortable than he looked in that Gambit squad. I feel like, already we're seeing more out of him. Now, Team Spirit, 6-4 in the lead, but this round, Pistol forced by a partial investment from the Gambit squad with a bit of money left lying around to invest in the follow-up. They'll get up here through short side. Chopper just about able to get out of danger, but Supra is not so lucky. Sumdai Young removes him from the equation, and now it's back-to-back here with the man in question at long. Shiro gonna dig down both players over at the long side, and now he's left in a 1-on-3. He does get his hands on the AWP, but is not ready for Chopper to swoop on in and save the day.
Yeah, too many of these rounds. Shiro's been, left in these clutches, these 1-on-5s, and not ready for repeats more often than not. Spirit have been very, very fast at trading kills when they figure out where Shiro is, and, well, at least he's got the money for the AWP once again in this round. That was an eco for Gambit. They get a bomb plant, they get some kills. It's not the end of the world, but Spirit taking the lead here, and significantly at that. It's good to see. This balance hasn't really been needed on this AWP. He's been pretty slow, 4-3, but going back for that mid pick with a spawn, he's been good at finding advantages at the very least, but the flash is going to deny him. There was an AWP peeking with it, so good to see him back off as Shiro now dominates the angle. iDisbalance needs to look elsewhere for a pick with this AWP.
Inter is going to start to aggress up towards long. Has the rest of the team falling in behind him. And a bit of a slowdown here for Gambit Youngsters. Really just pumping the brakes. I think they've been caught off guard by the overzealousness in some of these rounds, so they're keen to not let a man advantage slip away. And now they'll start to look for control of Connector, rotating players back once they've seized control over here alongside. I like this idea of just leaving Inters hidden, right? You completely give up this idea that you've actually got anyone at long. And it's not been uncommon for Team Spirit to actually, you know, push late into this position. Think about the amount of times you've seen that double hold between iDisbalance and Sumdai Young kind of playing the bait and switch in the corner at long. So it's a nice idea, and one that maybe Inters could have been rewarded with a kill from, but that's not the case, as the time's now ticked away, and instead of aggressing at long side, iDisbalance is pushed up in the toilets. Now, meanwhile, Gambit youngsters try and gain a foothold here at B, but they've got to commit to this site. There's 20 seconds left. They don't really have a choice now in the matter. They've just got to get into B, and with Chopper still floating around, hidden, concealed by this smoke, he tries to go through, and Axile is holding down the angle. iDisbalance, the last man remaining, and 1v4 might just want to think about holding on to this AWP. There is still money for Team Spirit, so he could justify, you know, floating around, seeing if a kill is gifted over, which it will be. And now, with a player wrapping around in the form of Inters, iDisbalance, he doesn't know it, but this is a temporary 1v1 at the B bomb site. He's not going to know that, though. And that's the sad part. Inters never leaving long, never leaving these toilets, is still coming in on the flank. And so even as iDisbalance looks to save, he runs the risk of going down.
Yeah, they're going to hear him for sure. Inters is going to be waiting for him at the bank, and there will be no cash is checked. iDisbalance does get a whiff of him. Backs out just barely. Oh, no.
What? Well, I thought he saw him. I thought someone commed that to him, because it seemed like he realized. Maybe he thought he was running stairs instead.
I would love to give you guys a bit of a C-Stream update right now, because there's something pretty cool going on over there. Winstrike versus Unique. Currently, Winstrike 14-0 up, and that is thanks to Hobbit going 27-5.
Wow.
They just took a 15th round, as we see there, and that 15th round, by the way, was a 2-on-4 from Hobbit and Crizzen.
Yeah, Hobbit disappearing after Gambit was the biggest surprise for me, because this guy was such a talent. I mean, I don't need to say that. Anyone who watched Krakow will know as well. Like, what an incredible story for Hobbit, and then he just disappeared, and we didn't get to see him at that top level anymore. So nice to have, you know, him and Winstrike, and hopefully they can provide some success here in the road to Rio. I'm sure we'll be covering their games at one point or another.
Speaking of Krakow, there's about to be a couple shots rang off here for Shiro.
Look at that little flag. Look at that number 3. We just saw it pop up quickly. This isn't a bug, you know. This is actually where he is. He's in the back line of Gambit youngsters. Sumdai Young. Oh, that's true. It is the youngsters dying young in this round. And my goodness, Inters is torn apart as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, that flank comes in. And that there is the downside of Gambit youngsters falling into these B plays so often and just not showing anything towards mid. They haven't established this like precedent that they're going to spread out. They're going to take the default in the majority of these rounds, right? And then fall into their plays. And as a result, you know, because you've mainly just been going for these set pieces, so it's like where the play starts to come in is usually where the play ends up for this Gambit youngsters squad. The moment they even catch a whiff of smokes of utility over towards B, Sumdai Young also on the back of spotting no one crossing mid, just runs the gauntlet.
Peace.
Yeah, and that's a good point, right? Like Gambit, yeah, they often commit to where their default is starting off, which is, we're on a map where that doesn't need to happen. If you have that connector, you can rotate very aggressively, very quickly, and throw fakes on either side. So, you know, you can really switch things up if you own Con. Now, in this eco, they do, but they don't really own the weapons to fight back. So, Majis is looking to force gunfights. He will fall off eventually. No smoke to cut this one off, hoping that they don't flash him. And he's going to dodge it anyway. Good dodging from Majis. I keep saying Magis, like Astralis Magis, because that's all we've been casting, but yeah, that's not what I mean.
Magisk.
I keep calling Axile Exile by mistake.
What are you trying to say? You trying to get him out of here?
No, man.
Well, yeah, this is...
Polar opposite, actually. I wanted to stick around.
Spirit have been reading a lot of these rounds, right? Like, not just Sumdai Young on the flank, but having 3 players on, no matter what site Gambit seemingly hit, even though it is often at, or not often, but sometimes at A site, we have those heavy long setups for support from the AWP. So Spirit's experience is certainly paying off here. They look like they are in control. Gambit do find a round, but we're into the last of the half to see where this one's going. iDisbalance with the AWP, and Gambit are trying to take middle, but they've been smoking on the molly, and Supra gets Sumdai Young pushed mid. iDisbalance got a flick, and he doesn't want to reface that fight versus an AWP. Repositions instead. Shiro, oh, he's been spotted, and iDisbalance jumps, but I don't think he realized as he walks into the gunfight. Mira is still here on long, Chopper in middle as well. Heavy setup, and they try and re-aggress once more, but Shiro is having none of it.
Oh, and they catch Magix on the flank, trying to come in on this wrap round. Now that they've spotted Chopper as well, the worst fears have been realized for Team Spirit. They know that this B site is empty on the Gambit youngsters side. Chopper, gonna get down here very, very quickly. Just runs the gauntlet immediately, right?
A little abrasive, but nonetheless, 1v4, Chopper by himself does have some nades to work with in this last round of the half. They're gonna Molotov him off, and that's gonna give a clear indication as to where they're gonna find Chopper. A sharpshooter on this side of Spirit, but the odds are certainly stacked against him at this moment. Pops a flash into the site, tries to get himself some running room, but Shiro has his AWP trained on that graffiti corner. We're going to train ourselves to go right into this halftime break. We come back, we're going to see the conclusion of Overpass before we start to look at Dust 2 and Mirage. Be right back, everybody.
Sleeping on the floor again. We never sleeping on the floor again. For the ones who didn't make it out, for the ones that didn't see the life, for the ones that never cared, never gave a thought, found no happiness in that brand new car or the house you bought. I see you talking about the love you lost, and it was gone like way before you ever thought it was. Yeah, I took my time, no quick ones, quick run, quick guys to get back there. Hot roads, I didn't think I'd come back fast, cause I was running around so many nations. Even when it's so sweet, I end up seeing red. This is such a ghostly revelation. I may have fucked up all my chances. I was running. It's easy, it's hard to preach, cause I've been burning trees and watching fall. If we cannot breathe out, we go forward. Sure, I was searching for cure, fishing a little wildlife, and when I'm low on fuel, I'll still be running till my back broke. Halfway, lost hope and I'll check it. Hard roads, I didn't think I'd come back fast, cause I was running from so many nations. Even when it's so sweet, I ended up seeing red.
A deep breath there for some, and one of those is going to be Hugo Byron. He'll be all right, and so will that of the Gambit youngsters, actually. As we take a look at this first half of play, things have gone quite interestingly enough. Not as nearly as interesting as a 16-0 over on the other stream, but hey, that's for others. We're here on the A stream, guys.
Pretty unique stuff from the Windstrike crew. And they'll 16-0 the team in question over on Nuke with a monstrous performance from Hobbit. But let's focus on this round here and now. We'll see that over here on the T side, Team Spirit going to be setting up over towards the party. Basti, do you have any fancy camera angles over here in top mid that you want to show off? No, one doesn't really show us anything, so I guess the answer is no. There we go. This is kind of okay. They'll start to grab some long control and move on up here on the Team Spirit side. 3 players in question. We're fiddling around, like, you know, we're trying out some new things here, and we're kind of dropping Bastion in this in a big way, but I'll highlight it just before we kind of get into the nitty-gritty of this round. We're trying to play around with removing the X-ray every now and again, just so we can see just how fast, you know, some of these reactions have to be, and kind of put ourselves on the same level as the guys in the server.
It gives us, and you, the viewer, hopefully a different appreciation for what's going on, because as we've said before, some people just connect and they'll watch the game and they're like, well, why aren't they, you know, fragging each other easily, or they can see each other through the walls. But that's just not the case.
And, you know, like, for everyone who watches this every day, you know, you probably know that they can't see that. But for new viewers, right, people like my father, for example, he had no clue. And that's because these guys are so good at the game, it looks like they know. Now, they're going to set up outside of the A site. Bastion, drop that X-ray. Let's see how this starts to look now as the push comes on in. Back here on the dice box and tucked into a corner. And it's going to be Axile and Supra putting up a bunch of numbers in this round. 4 kills between the two of them. Sumdai Young, the last man remaining, and a very tall task on his shoulders, one that is probably asking a bit much of him. A 1v5 required, and as he peeks into the site, he's going to see absolutely nothing on this first peek in, but rest assured, there are players tucked into every corner here. As he gets on in, no time, and Sumdai Young dying after time. I absolutely love that from Gambit youngsters. They all just hide. They completely run. They just tuck away. They wait till after the time. Sumdai Young actually was just looking to get killed there. He wasn't even trying the clutch anymore. And they wait till after the time to find the frag. That is actually great planning from Gambit youngsters to really put themselves ahead in a very big way now.
Oh, they definitely swarm that site. Now, another thing, as we were telling you, we're trying new things here. You can see when we turn off X-ray that the mini-map is still live. So if you do get a little lost in the flurry of the fight, you can just reference up there to the top left of the screen and you will be caught back up to speed. Meanwhile, Gambit youngsters do not want to forgo these weapons. They're going to be playing tight over here on this B site. And already, one of the players has fallen in the form of Supra. Mir goes for 2, and he's able to get himself 2 with relative ease, down on 19 HP. Now just Nafany fighting from the monster pillar. That's going to be enough to scare off this Team Spirit side.
This is a great call to bail here. You've got 2 picks on B. You've still got Chopper pushed up on A. You know Gambit are going to be leaning on that lower site. So if Chopper can find a kill, he'll have A for free. And that's why Shiro is playing so passive. He doesn't want to be that man going down and losing the round as a result. Even though those B picks came through, with things going silent, Gambit youngsters know that, wow, Spirit could be anywhere. And that previous round as well, that execute on A was telegraphed pretty clearly to Gambit, and they had all those rotates up towards that top site. The molly as well missed on default, and that really made things problematic. But regardless, we're here now anyway in Spirit. They're trying to take A. 2 CTs here. Shiro tucked. They're not ready for a second man. Axel will drop the bomb as well, stalling it out on the site, and another kill as well. Low HP on Mir, but he's going to finish the job. 3rd kill of the round for him. Yeah, he got a clutch.
Axile needed another kill there. And that would have really spun that back in the way of the Gambit youngsters. But as it stands, Spirit, well, just kind of making us forget all about that pistol round, that flawless one from the side of Gambit youngsters over on the A site. Now, interestingly enough, we look at the round timeline of that first half, and there was never a point in that first half of play at all where either team strung together more than 3 rounds consecutively, which does wonders for the economy game.
Wow, the economy game right now, it's playing in the hands of Spirit. No surprises to be said as Gambit force up in the 3rd round of the half. Shiro saved a bit of money for that ult later on, but everyone else bought in, committed to the cause. Nades are avoided by Spirit by and large. They're going to commit towards B. There's the entry. Supra dead in the water. Inters will join him, drowning below. And Gambit, I mean, that's a done round already, right? Bomb planted already. Gambit decided to fall out of this one. They're going to hang around, look for some kills, see if Spirit offer anything up. But Spirit is certainly not going to be losing this round.
Looks like your boy Jerry is starting to lose over there against Namiga there, Harry.
Ooh.
Jerry and Harry. What a combo.
Yeah, man, the troublesome duo that no one knew existed.
Or even asked for that.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, man, one thing I will say about Jerry is that, you know, once, because that's the thing, right? He's someone who still has like a lot of life left in his playing career, but 100%, like once he decides, you know, like enough is enough, whatever that point comes in, I think he has a real future in providing some like good and analytical content, like
being a broadcast talent.
Someone, yeah, like someone who can really talk about the game as well as play it. And you know, you might like think, okay, well, surely most IGLs can talk about the game, but it takes a lot to be able to put like your very complex ideas that you spend, you know, like months nailing down into like very digestible and understandable kind of points. And that's what I think Jerry's great at. That's why he's such a treat. That's why I'm such a fan of him, Trace.
That's why you drew that portrait of him.
I did actually draw a portrait of Jerry, yes.
Yeah, that was nice.
It wasn't very good.
No, you're right. It was terrible. I lied. It was awful.
Drawing has never been my strong point.
Math, English, neither of those as well. We do really look to hone in on what Harry's strong points are, but for the time being, the strong point here for Spirit is that they have rifles against the pistols of Gambit, who have elected to push heavy A and mid presence in this round. 3 through the connector. This could get real nasty, but you can see Spirit, they're already on the B site, very cautious of it still, but they know that there's something funky going on here. Know that there's something weird going down with the youngsters.
Yeah, maybe Chopper's grenade. That's a little weird. Doesn't go down where he thought it would into the connector. 2 players trapped here. Now, Fanny will be fine in this corner, but he's going to get spotted. Nowhere to go. Chopper spamming. Oh, it's very close. He's down to 30. No rush here for Spirit, right? And you don't want to risk giving guns away. So, you know, these are USPs. At the end of the day, you don't really care. You can just hold on to your guns. But if you want to get that little bit of extra money and, of course, a little bit of extra disrespect, make sure Gambit youngsters know their place, then you're going to want to hunt down these kills or let them come to you. Mira and Chopper doing exactly that. Chopper, he needs to get all 3 if he wants to hold on to this AK. He's got support now. Samdai Young coming from B, and there's no guns to be saved here. Shiro is alive, but they might just let him stay alive with that USP. Goes for it, but yeah, it's still going to be a good round for Spirit. They take the bomb B very early. They spot that mid pressure from Gambit, but the buy is coming through in this round anyway.
It's true.
And I mean, this is a map overpass for Gambit youngsters. Obviously, their pick. This is one where they have an 80% turnover rate. Now, obviously, we talk about these teams. They play a lot of online CS. They play a lot of, you know, qualifiers or cups. And so, yeah, they are going to be farming lower tier teams. But, you know, even Gambit youngsters having some, you know, impressive victories here over the likes of VP, taking down Smash, you know, taking down Endpoint. So there are names here in the trophy cabinet for Gambit, but not Spirit, not yet. And maybe not at all if they don't turn things around on the CT side here.
Chopper about to have a rude awakening at long. Maybe decides better of it. The AWP was trained up on him over there. In the hands of Shiro, he's going to go a little bit more aggressive with it as they work to clear out this connector and short side from Team Spirit. Also presence with B with the bomb. So this looks to be a B split at the end of the day.
Ooh, a frontside A-site smoke thrown by Spirit is going to deny a lot of info from the A players. That means they're going to be late to rotating down lower because the man on the site can't really see anything.
Yeah, let's hold this screen right here for just a second. I think they've used most of their utility at this moment, but there are still some smokes to come out here for the side of Team Spirit. 40 seconds left on the clock. Where will they elect to use these? They're going to go for the fights instead. They're going to go for that first and foremost. Interestingly enough, Magic's completely blind, running Galil's shot onto Supra. And they haven't had to use a smoke to get into the site.
Oh, dear.
They just walked out dry on them.
Yeah, look at where that's left Gambit with nothing, right? They've got to save their guns, and Spirit already beginning the hunt. They've got money for days, and it's got to feel pretty rough if you're Gambit. Giving away 13 and saving 3. Shiro doesn't even get a chance at the AWP. He is avoided on that A site in this round. So Mir's being very loud. I think he's been heard from the truck. So Axel's going to be waiting for this exit. Could be a free kill. Oh, no! Mir kills his teammate. That is a big error. And Gambit, I mean, they get the trade, but that feels worse than anything right there. Axel, an AK upgrade, but a gun loss for Gambit. And at this point in the game, that makes so much difference. 3 weapons is the difference between a buy and an eco. And now they've certainly got to eco this round, give away 14, and play for the next.
And if you're Gambit, yeah, you're going to call in this timeout right here. I was wondering when that would happen, but it appears as though we're on the same wavelength here. Gambit youngsters down a considerable amount of rounds, and, well, with this half slipping away, this map is also slipping away beside it. And they're going to have to go back to the drawing board, get really creative here to put a stop and give an answer to Team Spirit's aggressions on their T side.
You know, what is certainly scary here is the fact that Spirit, this is their second least played map. The only one below it is Vertigo, which is their insta-ban in pretty much every series we see them in. So, yeah, like, this is a great game for them, but they've only played this map 7 times. They've got, you know, 20 maps logged, 23 maps logged on some of these other ones, even in the series here today. Dust 2, 18 logged, Mirage 20. So this isn't even one where they've got everything to show us, and they're still taking a pretty comfortable, convincing victory at the moment. We'll see if that changes, but it certainly bodes well for Spirit to be able to 2-0 this series.
Yeah, I do think as well that, like, when you look at the individuals on Team Spirit and you think about, like, where they've come from, right? You've got, like, guys in here from Vega Squadron, you've got guys in here from Gambit, and in the past, in, you know, previous teams that these guys have been a part of,
oh, baby.
This overpass map has usually been one of the go-tos, right? So even though Team Spirit might not have, like, the craziest amount of plays on it with this iteration of the squad, on like an individual level, this has always been a map that the majority of these guys have been comfortable on. I think that's one of the things I do love about the CIS region as well. Like, Overpass is usually one of like the home maps alongside a map like Dust 2. I think that's pretty fair in saying, right? And I like that. You know, you're not just taking on like these aim-heavy maps. Overpass, very, very tactical in its nature. One of these like vertical maps that gives you a lot of options. And Team Spirit really bringing the heat here into this round. They're going to take a 14th. All Shiro can do is save, hold on to this AWP.
And that's felt like so many rounds, right? Like, he's one of the only, or sorry, he is the only positive player on his team, and that's because he's not going for these rounds. He's got 12 deaths, and he's so often on the A side. As much as Gambit hit B in the T side, Spirit are doing that and one-upping them as well, taking so many clean, convincing rounds. And I mean, the bomb's just been planted, but look at Chopper. He's in the playground. He's looking for kills. He's hunting.
Well, look at the impact Chopper had just through the first half, right? Like, he's obviously feeling himself, and at that point, your team's probably like, hey, man, we're up 14-7, potentially. Why don't you go around and see what you can do?
Oh,
well, he finds Shiro, but then, of course, it has to end in a trade. So 14 up for Spirit. It's neck and neck.
If Rush was watching, he would say, if you're saving, just save. And I agree. Shiro going back in for the repeat. I'm not going to blame him for trying to fight there, right? Like, you're positive, you're feeling good, you know you can hit those shots, but what that has left them in is a very rough situation. They give a free AWP over to a team that, yes, can afford it, but probably weren't going to do so. And now Spirit have 14 rounds. Luckily, Shiro can rebuy, but Gambit, they are running out of options. They are running out of opportunities.
They are. They're going to drop a smoke towards this monster tunnel, and Nappy's going to be waiting on the other side, breathing in air over here on top of this Gambit Youngsters squad.
Yikes.
Also, so far ahead in this round, they wanted to give themselves a bit of a TK.
Wasn't easy enough.
Wasn't easy enough, they said. They were lying. Chopper, Mir, very hurt. Itis Balance with AWP on 77. And they have come to a grinding halt here for Team Spirit.
The classic, oh, we've won, guys. Let's just rush B and close it. And of course, a deep smoke from Gambit. That denies all the info. I feel like if you're Spirit there and you see that deep smoke, not just a traditional monster one, which can deny info, but one that, you know, is so deep in the tunnel that a CT can fight it and have such an advantage in that engagement. That's why no one dies on the defense there early, at least, until the team kill. And Gambit just mow them down. So, yeah, I like it when teams bail when they see that smoke, you know. Molotov, you can smoke off yourself. You can go right through that. But, well, in this case, that's not the problem for Spirit. Still a winnable round, but low HP on Mia, and Chopper's tag to 50 as well. We're relying on some heroics from Itis Balance as they group up still towards B.
Now, minus the fact that they're very low, Harry, this would be something where you'd expect the veterancy of Spirit and all the experience they got from playing on lands to come and show and shine through right here on this B site.
Even how they've played this 3-on-4, right? They wait for ages, and this is just to try and put the doubt in Gambit youngsters' minds, right? You're hoping that they get a bit antsy on the back of not seeing anyone and rotate away from B. Now, that hasn't happened, and Shiro has come rotating in very, very quickly. Inters trying to hold off down here in the pit, and he does deal with Chopper now. A bomb plant is found, but all the pressure is onto Itis Balance. 1v3. And he's got a lot to deliver in this round if they want to pick it up. Obviously not going to happen. Nafany coming in with 4 kills and an 8th round up on the board for Gambit youngsters. They're going to salvage this one yet.
Nice to see that from the in-game leader for Gambit as well, right? Nafany was 0-5 coming into this game. A very slow start for him, so getting some crucial impact rounds in this CT half. Obviously, the question is, how impactful are they going to be, right? Because If you get swept here, if you get closed out 16-10, doesn't really matter how you performed.
Something that is cool though, like even if you think about what this Gambit Youngsters project is, and you know, when we spoke to Nafany, he was saying like over in the CIS region, a lot of these teams have made it a focal point to try and start like these young rosters, right?
Yeah.
And I look at it and I imagine that comes off of like the success of teams in the past, like Winstrike. You think about like what Fords have been able to do, and you also look at like Boomich and Na'Vi. You think about what the CIS's region problem kind of used to be, and that was, at least in my opinion, would be like the lack of kind of IGL powers, for example, that were reliable, you know, to step up in the server. You kind of had like this awkward time period where there was like Zeus, there was Angel, and there was someone like Blade, and then that was essentially it, right? And I think now there's a lot more emphasis on trying to foster this young talent for when those old legends of the game do decide to step away or perhaps just drop down in performance, right? And this is something that we're seeing kind of more regions look towards, but it's nice that the CIS region is the one leading the way, at least in terms of like bringing up all these young teams and really trying to solidify a pool of talent to fall back on.
Well, it's like eventually you get kind of tired of really just recycling the same players over and over and over. They have shelf lives as well.
Look at the success that a team like Na'Vi have had with a guy like Boomich stepping in, right? And in this round, that little double nade stack in towards CT, very nifty indeed. They bring Shiro down to 17 points of health, and he hasn't even seen anyone yet.
Yeah, well, actually, I have a point to make after this round, but right now we're at 30 seconds, and Spirit are rotating back towards A is a real gamble, because Exile, he is going to hear all of this and maybe have some play into it as well, dropping one man. Mira's gone. It's a late mid from Idis Balance, and Axel wasn't to expect it. Now the A site is gone. Axel was the only point of contest on this A site, and he was so pushed up. It looked like a B play through and through, but a rotate away for Spirit, a good decision. That's something Gambit never did on the T side. They never, threw in fakes towards B, got a kill, and then rotated up. But Spirit just did that excellently, and you could see all it took them was one kill to win the round.
Now, Hugo, before you go on to make a point that you're going to make there, I just want to get a joke out there that my buddy Quantum1985 had really said. It's more like a dad joke.
Yeah, take it.
You ready? I ate a clock yesterday.
You ate a clock?
I ate a clock.
At what time?
No, it was very time consuming. Sorry,
sad now.
It seemed like a really appropriate thing at the time.
Well done, Trace. It's time to stop. Where are your parents?
You know what? Where are my parents? Good question.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Angel, Harry. I think that's such a great talking point. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he recently announced his departure from HR, and he was talking about looking for squads. And dude, this is a guy that Na'Vi wanted at one point before they brought, the current roster into effect. The rumors were, at least I don't know what's true, so I'm just going to go with the rumors. That's what I heard. Was that his buyout was too much, HR wouldn't sell him, and of course Angel, he's been HR forever, so I don't blame the org there. But Na'Vi weren't willing to shell out the cash for him. Well, right now, not only is he maybe more of a free agent or maybe with a buyout, but definitely going to be there for some RU squads to pick up. I'd love to see him back in the in-game leading role in one of these CIS teams, even over in European teams as well. I mean, obviously he can speak English, so Angel, definitely a player that someone needs to pick up at some point, because this guy is crazy good. He's always been one of those in-game leaders that can hold his own in the server, still being able to frag. And that is more than required in the current meta of CS. But back to the action. Spirit maybe closing out the map pick of Gambit Youngsters in this round. They're poised towards B once again. And even though there's a bit of a stack here for Gambit Youngsters, that's not been a problem in the past.
Yeah, and a fast B play here from Team Spirit as they look to get this one across the line. Mir, first man in, still yet to see anyone. Inters is hidden at the barrels. That Molotov not actually deep enough to flush him out. Oh, he's very, very lucky. I do not know how he stayed alive here. Now, the problem he's going to have is with this smoke being down and no one really seeing that molly at the barrels, there's always a chance that someone could have moved up to this position anyway, so they will still have to check it on the Team Spirit side. Inters getting damage done, gets away with 2, but a swift return from Chopper and Magis leaves moves it now with the advantage in favor of Team Spirit.
Ooh.
Darting through this smoke is Nafany. He's tried to make a bit of a play here and wrapping up close. He shuts down not one, but two players inside of the site, leaving all the pressure onto Mir. Suddenly, this 3-on-2 is stripped away from Team Spirit. Mir does deal with Shiro. Only Nafany left to beat, and he has his name and number. Team Spirit, 16-8. They're going to take over past the map pick of Gambit youngsters under their wing. Dust 2 coming up next. That would be the map pick of Team Spirit. Can the youngsters answer back? Or is it going to be Sumdai Young and the boys getting this one over the line? You're going to have to join us after a quick break to find out.
Every single line, every single roadblock. We are two hearts that beat in time. And the towers looking down all night, blocking out the sun that we need. Maybe we can change our stripes and colors. You're the only one I see. And I take it all or nothing at all. Driving through the night till I'm at your door. Go outside, stay up all night. And I take it all or nothing at all. Driving through the night till I'm at your door. Go outside, stay up all night. Sleep through the sunrise. Look into my past and I count the numbers of the dreams that I left behind. I don't even care now that I've discovered a new kind of peace of mind. Up above us, looking down on us, there's an angel I know. We don't need to worry or discuss much. It's time for me to hit the road. Take it all or nothing at all. Driving through the night till I'm at your door. Go outside, stay up all night. Sleep through the sunrise. And I take it all or nothing at all. Driving through the night till I'm at your door. Go outside, stay up all night. And I take it all or nothing at all. Driving through the night till I'm at your door. Go outside, stay up all night. Sleep through the sunrise.
We're back right into the thick of it, here at the ESL 1 Road to Rio. We have Spirit and the Gambit youngsters squaring off. First map going the way of Spirit, and pretty heavy-handedly at that. 16-8 is the score that we look at. We can also dissect some of the numbers therein. My name is Trace, and alongside me are Harry and Hugo, and they've got some more numbers on their end as well, but overall the numbers speak for themselves. Gambit youngsters simply not up to the matching task of having an answer on their CT side of this overpass map of their pick.
Yeah, and that shouldn't be a shocker, right? Of course, it was their pick, but Spirit, they've been really, really good recently. They've had some good changes. Magis has fit into this team extremely well as a 16-year-old, right? Like inexperienced player, rather, at this level, and he's still looking really, really good. As well, we had the old guard stepping up in this map. Chopper and Mir, top of the board, looking like tanks against Gambit.
Chopper, 114.5 ADR to close out the map. That's 26 and 15. He's got himself 7 assists. This guy, he was all over the place, and rightfully so. You could see just how lenient they become to be with Chopper. They let him kind of get that freedom of movement. They let him kind of play around and toy with this food because he is hitting shots, and sometimes you can put that faith in your teammates.
Yeah, and you know, we'll unlock him soon, perhaps, right? Like that's the end goal there. But
okay.
No, Chopper looked great, and that's the thing. Like this was always a good map for him as an individual, and that really shone through here in this one. I mean, this clip alone, right? That was nuts. Yeah. Getting the jump shot. He finishes this round with 4 kills, by the way. If you want to know, that's kind of a spoiler, but
nice.
We're seeing them come on in. No, he looked fantastic, and so did the rest of the gang for Team Spirit. And I really do think that the veterancy started to shine through, especially as we moved into that second half. You could just feel Team Spirit doing a really good job of dictating the pace in a way that sadly we didn't get to see from the Gambit youngsters side. I think as well the reluctance to kind of, or not like reluctance, but just the decision to not establish the kind of precedent that you are going to be setting up this default over on the T side, maybe hamstrung Gambit youngsters a bit over there, right? Like we saw a lot of these rounds culminating with fast flanks coming in from Team Spirit, some Die Young constantly being a nuisance in the backline for Gambit youngsters. And yeah, I mean, it kind of fell apart moving into that second half. The T side of Team Spirit just looked a little too strong today.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. They were really, really good at like knowing when to back up, when to rotate between the sites, right? Putting pressure on B, going up connector, doing all the stuff that Gambit youngsters didn't really show us in that first half. And I thought they would, considering not only the fact that it's their map pick, but it's a map they've got such a good conversion rate on. But, you know, the individuals have surely carried them through that in the past. But when they're outclassed, well, what are they left with? A map loss, and now Dust 2, a map where individuals, once again, hold a lot of weight here. Everyone knows how to play it. Everyone knows what they're doing. It's a mainstay of CIS CS, as you said earlier. And so I think, you know, while that could for sure work in Gambit youngsters' favor, I think, you know, from what we saw on the server, individually, Spirit looked so much better.
Yeah, and speaking of individuals, we've got a couple of them over there on the C stream. We're going to quick update on our way out of here. There was 16-0 in the first map of Nuke. Now they're on Vertigo, and a little bit of the same stuff is happening. We're going to go to a break. We're going to jump into our next map of our series, which includes that of Dust 2, featuring the Gambit youngsters and Team Spirit. So don't move, don't get lost. If you do go to the kitchen, you already know that we want you to bring something back for us, some good snacks, some good lickies and chewies. We'll be right back, everybody.
Son intelligence de jeu, enfin, même quand il avait 6-7 ans, c'était assez incroyable.
Donc au début, on était meilleur que lui.
Je pense qu'il a, c'est à partir de ses 14 ou 15 ans qu'il a commencé à être meilleur.
Au début, quand il perdait, c'était un très mauvais perdant. Hein.
Oui, je me souviens très bien qu'il cassait beaucoup de souris.
Everybody loves an underdog. Who needs to be liked?
Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
Last year, we took 2 lucky winners on a trip to Berlin and gave them the experience of a lifetime. This year, we can take you for a trip to Rio. Take part in a series of GG.bet contests for a chance to win awesome prizes and a trip to Rio. See details on the website.
Sitting on a bench, waiting for the time to pass, dreaming of what happens next. I do what I wanna be, questioning my destiny, only knowing what I see. I don't even realize I've already made a path, and I can change it anytime, I can't so damn far away. I know I sound crazy to the ones who said oh. I know I empowered those who dream like me. I know I sound crazy to the ones who said oh. I know I empowered those who dream like me. And you say you wanna be somebody. You got a voice, then you better use it. Tell yourself day after day it's time to prove it. No days off, keep the hustle moving. Wanna see you be what you want it to be, prove it. I know I sound crazy to the ones who said oh. I know I empowered those who dream like me. I know I sound crazy to the ones who said oh. I know I empowered those who dream like me. And you say you wanna be somebody. And you say you wanna be somebody. And you say you wanna be somebody. And you say you wanna be somebody.
I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not lose. I can't pretend to like you. It's just I never thought you were sitting next to me. I don't understand. It's just I never seen you smile. You wanna make out, give me a second. It's just you never talk, I never listen. When do we fall in love? Make up your mind, honey, 'cause I can't pretend to like you. I hope
ESL 1 Road to Rio is brought to you in part by Intel, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, and GG Bet.
Well, it's all good in our hood, and we hope it's as good as yours as well. We're going to be ready to jump into this map before you can say light speed, and by that I mean not quite that fast, but we are getting damn close. And I do have Harry and Hugo with a gap in between them, and we are ready to get this started. I think I'll put the scissors down. Not sure why I'm swinging those around. Perhaps that's even more scary than the situation at
Real
hand.
threatening undertone to this opener, right?
Yeah, we're gonna get into the game. You guys want to get into the game? What do you think? Okay, we're not doing that. What we are going to talk about is this next map of the series, Dust 2. And it's going to be the pick of Spirit. When you start to think about that and just how the first map went, it's kind of hard to put some stock in the Gambit youngsters camp.
Yeah, right. Like the weird thing is looking at this game and the pick of Gambit is a map they don't play often. It's a map they have great conversions on, but I'm imagining a lot of teams like to veto that against them. Now we head to one that is certainly more middle ground, right? 20 maps logged for both these two teams. They're going to be prepared. No one's going to have troubles with knowing what to do or where to play on Dust 2. It's once again coming back to those individuals that Spirit seems so warm, so crisp, so ready to go, and we are too as well. The road to Rio, Gambit youngsters taking on Team Spirit. It's Dust 2, Spirit a map up in this series, looking for a quick 2-0.
Yes, that's right. Gambit youngsters, Team Spirit, and a very happy birthday to Mr. Travis Scott, who's not watching the game, nor does he know anything about Counter-Strike, I'm sure. However, it is his birthday nonetheless, and we're ready to kick off a pistol round here in the second map of the series. Spirit currently leading, and they want to keep it that way. 2 flashes on Nafny and some decoys. What is the big game plan here from Gambit?
Well, I'm imagining with how this is looking, right, you're immediately going to have to just concede this long control for the time being, right? Team Spirit already getting out. As a result, you're kind of forced to play this in a Cat CT retake setup on the Gambit youngsters side. They're pretty content to have these players at the site taking some gunfights on Team Spirit as they move up through long, just because the USPs are that much better for it. And it has led to a man advantage getting taken by the Gambit youngsters side. So now Team Spirit going to bow out of long. They back away and instead look to join Sumdai Young over here in mid. They leave Chopper behind. He's going to keep on battening down the hatches here alongside. And we'll start to push on up. Looking to go toe-to-toe with Nafany here, and he does bring him down to 20 points of health, but not quite the kill. Team Spirit looking to go back into an A-side take here. Perhaps looking to try and bring IDIS balance up through Catwalk later in the round, but he's very low on HP. And so that is something to bear in mind. He gets shut out of middle. This leaves Magix all alone, and a 1v4 required. He does land a nice little shot there onto 1, but it's not enough. Gambit youngsters, they will get that pistol round on the board.
Yeah.
And Trace, man, you said Travis Scott doesn't know what CS is. I don't know, man. He was pretty involved in Fortnite. He's a bit of a gamer.
Same thing there, right?
Yeah,
CS, Fortnite.
Basically the same game.
Okay, well, you guys have lost the plot. And speaking of the plot that was had over on the C stream, it was a 16-0, if you remember. But the curse has been lifted. Unique found a 1 round to the 9 of win strike on the second map. So not back-to-back 16-0s at the very minimum.
Well, the force up for Spirit, the armor, and the scout on IDIS balance. We're waiting to see if that's going to be able to pluck any of these players out of play. Right now, doesn't seem to be the case. Gambit are extremely passive in their setup. Mid control has been gifted, but they're spotting it from the B site. Spirit are given Catwalk as well, flashing up. 2 smokes and a flashbang left on this T side. Enough to go for a mid to B, enough to set up towards Catwalk, but that would, of course, be walking into the heavily stacked site of the 2, and with a passive setup such as this, Spirit know exactly where Gambit are going to play. This is more than default. 2 inside of B. The surprise will be the player in Goose more so than the A site, as Shira is going to try and bait them in from the ramp side. Spirit are going to move through mid late. Smoke's actually not down towards CT, but they have got a deeper one on the cat side of things, so Shiro can't see through, so it's down to the B players again. It's messy. Tried to transfer. Supra gets overwhelmed. The bomb has been dropped, though, and that needs to be retrieved.
Fortnite, Omega Lol. Had to get that one out of my system, guys. I hope you'll understand.
Ooh,
what a shot.
It's tagged on the man jumping over mid. Now, Axel coming in with this flank, and he might catch Magix entirely by surprise. Oh, he's a little bit trapped here, is Magix, and that's going to leave Sumdai Young to do all of this alone inside of the site. He catches the first man and now holds outside of the window. Can stop this bomb defuse right now, and now just tucks himself in. Axel, there's no time.
Wow, Sumdai Young single-handedly wins that round. Good stuff.
No, that's fantastic from him, right? Because, like, you know, he knows he's out on a limb there. He knows he's all alone, and he's effectively playing that in a 1v2 in spite of it being a 2-on-3 with a man still in the tunnels. And he catches the perfect timing to wrap around. And I think as well, the fact that Gambit youngsters give so much room to Team Spirit, so much time left, or so little time, I guess, left on the clock for Gambit youngsters. They're left in that situation where they've just got to barrel into the site. Sumdai Young obviously hears all the footsteps, gets the information, and closes that out in a very convincing, what was essentially a 1v2 from him, right? But there was a third man coming in late.
I am glad Gambit youngsters take that, you know, slowly on the retake and safely. More often than not, you see, you know, CT's wrapping all the way through T-spawn, coming in that flank like Axel did, and then, you know, not expecting someone in the tunnels. Well, he did. He was very aware of Magic's position, but Gambit took time to come in from lower and push Magic's back up. So he's really able to get far more than he should do in that spot. Stuck in the tunnels, but stalling out for Sundai Young, who is now armed to the teeth. Scouts out for Gambit youngsters as they force back in. Some connections through the doors as well. Missed jump onto the Xbox coming through, but you got another chance of that. That smoke is still up, and Spirit might not even go towards a catwalk as they set inside of the B tunnels. Only one man here. Nathany's helping out in middle, and actually Gambit appealing towards A. They see that smoke, they think that Team Spirit have gone catwalk. It's all a ruse, it's all a fake, and Super is going to have to do it alone. Instantly shot in the face, no hold on this B bomb site, and there we go. That's the round done. Welcome to Dust 2.
Welcome to Dust 2, says Hugo B. Byron of Oxfordshire.
Wow, you got my location right for once.
Yeah, I figured.
Doxing me, Trace.
Not quite doxing. I just remember some of the statistics about Oxfordshire.
Yeah,
and
but
I just, and maybe we could get Bastion online to kind of chime in with this one, but
he's a big fan, actually.
It's just good grief, Harry.
Cool.
Would you not?
Oh yeah, me, dude. Yeah, that was me. That was all my fault.
Just
what fell?
Don't drop the phone, man.
Oh.
Yeah, Trace actually just sent, the old rotary phone.
Well, that's the one that comes directly from Valve.
Yeah, that's actually got a direct line to Joe Miller, and Joe Miller only. So, right there, you might want to fix that one up, Trace.
Yeah, I'll get to it in a second. Well, you cannot discount that Spirit are in this game for sure. Not even really letting too many rounds slide away from the beginning of this half, in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, at least keeping 4 players alive on the save kind of gives you like another go at this partial investment round, right? If you want to look for silver linings here for the Gambit youngsters. You do have eye disbalance, spotting for this mid peak and trying to go toe-to-toe with Shiro. Now, he might have seen that 3 players, admittedly, with Shiro still kind of dueling mid, made the crossover towards B. And I imagine that's why we see Team Spirit kind of moving away from that idea now after sending 3 players into the tunnels early. This is thanks to the information that Scout was able to grab. And that's the thing, if you're Team Spirit, like we kind of said, like this is another go at the 4-spy round for Gambit, thanks to keeping these 4 players alive. So Team Spirit is still going to be very, very cautious in this one. They know that it can get out of hand and they don't want to let that happen. So they're going to look to take some catwalk control in this round. Molly there just to get any perspective, scouter maybe down off the boost if there was one, playing that kind of AWP drop-down position. That's not the case, though. And that does secure this limit banana for Team Spirit. Banana? Catwalk, rather.
Big Inferno now.
Kind of shaped like a banana. Like a very rigid banana.
What fruit are you eating, Harry?
I only eat, like, perfect right-angle fruit. So none. Shiro now looking for players on the cross. And Axile, well, he will put one up on the board. It is immediately dealt with. And this A-bomb site now belongs to Team Spirit. Shiro is still floating around here with the scout, but he wants to get out of danger. And this is because Gambit youngsters want to play this in a 4-on-4 retake.
Talking of danger, that's a dangerous plant. Now, it is for catwalk, but you can stick that behind the boxes. And we've seen players here at the Road to Rio be punished by that exact bomb plant. Magic's late from long. The Shadow gives away his position. Inters has a huge advantage with that kill, and he'll take it. An AK for the retake, if it is to go through here for Gambit. Already the time has ticked halfway down. Sundai Young looking the wrong way. He's going to get blindsided. Eye Disbalance needs both kills if this round is to happen for Spirit, and he's only going to get 1. But luckily enough, Gambit will throw caution to the wind and get on out of there. They may save the force in the previous round, but they save the upgrades here as well. Certainly all about making money, our Gambit youngsters, and they've saved some serious dollar bills. Shiro looking for some exits. He's going to get dropped. He could have finished off Eye Disbalance, who was low anyway, but that's not the case. And at least 2 AKs are saved here for Gambit youngsters who can buy around them into this rifle round.
I'm just glad bananas really aren't that rigid. That doesn't just seem like an enjoyable experience, does it?
It would be more like, it would look like a boomerang. It'd be pretty cool, actually.
So it'd be like, kind of like an eggplant maybe, or maybe more of like a squash.
Yeah.
Like maybe that could be a right angle,
That could be, definitely. I mean, yeah, man, why not? I mean, anything could be if you tried hard enough, right? Like, we can do anything.
You can bend it with your mind, like Beckham.
That's exactly what he did, man. I remember watching him in the Matrix film when he appeared, bending the spoon with his mind. I was like, man, no one can bend it like Beckham. That's wild. But here we go, Team Spirit down here towards the catwalk.
His career is football, his passion is physics.
And of course, a victorious man.
Nice.
In both.
Yeah.
Anyway. Ronaldo better than Messi. So we're going to see this set up here from the side of Spirit. And with 5 alive, they're going to look to assert their dominance inside of the A site.
Actually boosting over the smoke. Inters is watching for it, but the Molotovs, look at that, raining in. Fire all over the site. Shiro's got a peek with a flashbang. He's got a spray. Such a nice transfer, but only 2 HP left on Mir. He will survive. Hey, as Spirit cross towards this A site, Super and Nafani are all that remain. There's kits dropped at the ramp, but do they want to commit to it? Do they want to consider it with a disadvantage? Not a fun position to be in. Worth sometimes giving a look in, but with the pace that they're setting towards middle, it might just be the save after all. Late long control potentially, cut off those saving players in the pit. Get yourself more guns to work with. Super doesn't need one, he's going to hold on to his. But Nafani wants a bit of an upgrade. If he goes around this corner though, he's going to walk into the orb. So, gotta be careful, have his wits about him as Spirit continue to build on this T side. 4 rounds now to their name. It was a pistol they did forego. And since that point, it has not been a slowdown for Spirit. Gambit have been saving round after round. It actually hasn't been a round where Gambit haven't had players surviving. So that just kind of shows where we're at right now. Dust 2 can often feel like Inferno. Like we joke about it, but yeah, you get B-entry like that. You get quick rounds from Spirit where they don't give away much information. They take Catwalk, but Gambit can't over-rotate from B because, like seen in the past, Spirit, they take Catwalk, they drop into a mid to B. It can come out of nowhere. So Gambit, they have to save those guns, and now they've got to buy around it with the AWP.
Yeah, Dust 2 a map that can be dominated by a strong AWPing presence, and it still feels like we really have yet to see iDisbalance or Shiro have much of an impact, much of a say in this game. Now, we're only 6 rounds deep, right? And I imagine the time will come where that turns around. But for the time being, Team Spirit, they've been getting it done with the rifles in the majority of these rounds. iDisbalance, once again, holding for this mid-cross, now going to turn his attention over here towards the long doors. And he will have only seen 2 players crossing mid, so this might lure Team Spirit into a split B play, especially with this top tunnels control being taken, and now with a kill coming in from Chopper. That makes this B site feel even more tempting. Super on the short end of the stick there. AK at least retrieved by Nafani over towards the B-bomb site. And a bit of a rotation looking to come through from Exile, but he goes toe-to-toe with iDisbalance down in middle and gets tagged in the process. Team Spirit now starting to trickle in through the tunnels, slowly but surely, and now very, very fast. Kind of funny how that one pans out. Now, Nafani, can he hold the line? He does double up, and that at least leaves this round in a doable situation for Gambit youngsters. Finally, it's not one of these B takes where you're left with the only option being a save.
It's about time, and yeah, Mir, he's just hiding. He doesn't want to cross. He doesn't have a smoke for the door, so required iDisbalance to come through that utility and cover the window while they plant. Need to hurry up with it as well because, you know, while I understand why Spirit are taking things slow, Gambit could be close. They're not, and they have been afforded so much time to rotate. Shiro's come from long through T-spawn, and the bomber's only just gone down, but he's going to have to beat an AWPer holding his position. Inter's good Molotov. There's no smokes left. iDisbalance has to move. He has to get out of position. He's sitting in the molly, and he'll get shot by Shiro. All down to Mir in the corner, hiding, cowering at the car. Which player is going to push first? Which contact will he get? It's going to be Shiro. Quick on the trigger, and 2 kills on the retake. It's the AWP that will send Gambit into 2.
Yeah, things so far going to plan for Spirit, that is. But Gambit youngsters able to lasso themselves 1 round in there. Very, very sneaky, sir.
Something faster, maybe? Spirit are running right down mid. They got up Catwalk immediately from that suicide play. The smoker lets Gambit cross, but they actually don't spot any of this. So Spirit have advanced positioning, and they tuck in hopes that Gambit will reaggress. That's not the case. Inter's coming in from spawn towards middle, but you're not going to find much. As said, Spirit already up Catwalk, so Inters will see nothing. He's going to hold on to CT instead. And Spirit, again, another decent default where they just hold everything. They're going to group towards A, at least in this round. And if all things go wrong, they can drop B and go for that late mid to B that is so prominent.
Yeah, a few things to bear in mind here, right? You got a bunch of Molotovs and 3 smokes in play. Now, I'm imagining these smokes are going to go down. One to allow for this cross, maybe another falling on top of the boost box as well that we so often see. And then maybe a CT smoke thrown in for good measure, because that might help some Die Young if he does find himself in this situation where he has to try and get across here over at the long side. They now look to get out, and this is where you're hinging on these 2 players at the long doors finding success. They manage it. They do deal with Exile, but now this is where Shiro looks to turn the tide. He isn't aware that a second man has gotten out into this position, and down in CT, this position that remains unsmoked for Team Spirit, Gambit have been able to put up another kill. Still a 3-on-3, and that is thanks to Magix winning his fight out over Shiro at the long side of the map. Tag on to Nafany as well. 3 players swing on out now from CT, and IDIS balance. Well, he takes matters into his own hands. One with the AWP, one with the Deeg, and a 5th round on the board for Team Spirit. That faster play in towards the A site yields them some immediate results. The double stack at long, something that Gambit youngsters didn't seem ready for.
No.
They get caught off guard by it.
Yeah, when it comes to that double setup, I think Shiro was considering it, or maybe had a feeling, right? He gets that kill on long, he doubles back, he checks it again, he looks back towards the A site, and then on a 3rd repeat to long, Magix kills him. So Shiro at least considering the possibility, but he didn't know that Magix got out behind the blue dumpster.
Now, we do have a little bit of a microphone issue. And trust me, these things happen online just as much as they do on land. So, in the meantime, we're going to have a little bit of fun with you, Twitch chat. And my 2 favorite colleagues, got Harry and Hugo right here to kind of guinea pig this whole thing. So I'm really enjoying that part.
Yep.
Now, on the other side, I kind of want to pose a question, and I want you guys to kind of deliver it as best as you will right here. And we're going to let the chat decide via the kappas and the foreheads and all that. So basically, I want to know if Navi don't top this group, who is a good runner-up to top this group right here for the CIS of the ESL 1 Road to Rio? Now, I'm going to let you guys say it one at a time, and I want to start with you, Hugo.
I would say Fours, right? I think they're definitely going to be one to look out for. Now, I think the big names are going to be VP, Fours, and Na'Vi, right? Those are the 3 safe ones. But, yeah, VP have been a little inconsistent recently, and I'm not going to be putting my money on their backs. But, yeah, Fours, I think they can look really good. Back in Pro League, they took Na'Vi the distance. They had some really good fights there. So, yeah, let's go for the Russians.
Okay. Yeah. You know I'm a big Jerry fan, so I feel like Hugo getting his answer in first has kind of snuffed this one out from underneath me. I think 4s are a good one, but I think if you want to look at like a dark horse that could really do some damage, I'm looking at Simon Gaming. And the reason is, well, largely because of Norbert. I'm a huge fan of him, right? I think he's a stellar individual. And then you look at the guys he has around him. Obviously, you got Mo, right, from the Gambit fame back then. So there's always a chance that I think these guys could surprise us. But me and Hugo both said 4s, and yet there he is, winning the poll, as usual. Something I would love to see is, could we get this poll to balance at 50-50?
And now, just basically restart.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, of course the dude at 28% is the one
Okay, fine.
that.
Let's try and get Hugo to 100%.
Oh, okay.
Scrap the 50-50. Let's try and get Hugo to 100. You can do that by putting Kappa in Twitch chat. Usually it's hard to get you guys to stop doing that. So
you're missing some key element right here, and I just want to remind you that it takes a little bit of a while, and by that a few seconds, couple minutes, here for the Twitch chat and the viewers at home to keep up. So
we'll come back to it, Trace.
We could. I mean, we got all the time in the world except for the freeze times ending. Either way, it does look like Hugo is going to be taking this one. We're going to give you another chance at it later, Harry. We know you won that sweepstakes to get you in here, the next caster challenge, and we got you up here, but you're going to have to step it up.
Yeah, man. I mean, when we both say 4s and Hugo wins, I guess, like, pretty rough one for me.
First to the punch, Harry. That's what you've got to remember. The early bird, he doesn't get the worm.
But is that such a blessing? Let's really think about it here as we look at this round in front of us. Just pistols for Gambit youngsters. Harry, take it away.
Yeah, thank you very much, Trace. It's a pleasure to be here with you on this desk. I'm loving every minute of it. Physically, every waking moment feels like an hour. And when I'm with you, Trace, I love that.
Yeah, bunch of kappas, bunch of 4-heads, couple 5-heads slipping in there. So perhaps at the end of this round, we bring up the vote again just to see where it is. Meanwhile, Deagles are just going the way of Gambit. Bomb being planted by Spirit, but damn, there have been some pretty Deagle shots here in this round for the Gambit youngsters.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, taking the advantage, that would be a dangerous one. So Mir's going to back up. play it safer, play the bomb, and get 6 on the board. That's a good flash. Oh, he doesn't check the corner. That's a mistake. And Gambit youngsters get an AK delivered to their doorstep. Sunday Young will not let them take it, though. Doesn't matter, they've got guns anyway. The 2 saving players in T-spawn running away as Spirit finds 6 on this T side. Building into this game, well and truly. Already a map up as well. Spirit in a very good position.
Yeah, I was just thinking, Hugo.
What were you thinking, Trace?
I mean, you said early bird gets the worm, and I just am brought back to the ancient proverb that is second mouse gets the cheese. So
that's a good, yeah, I've not thought about that.
Let's think about it.
Okay.
Let's really get deep in there and really just sort of examine what's going on. Is it really worth it to be the first one to get the worm?
If you're a bird, yes. If you're a mouse, no, you're probably going to walk into a trap. And, you know, that ain't fun, Trace. They do say that. You know, no one has bird traps in you know, ground, in grass to stop them getting worms. But people are fine with birds eating worms. What's wrong with mice eating cheese? Let them go.
This is the guy that's winning the poll. I'll say that.
Only because you're rigging the votes, Harry.
Magic's over here towards short. And is he a bird? Is he a mouse? Is he a worm? Let's find out.
Or is he cheese?
I mean, we're going to have to wait and see. One of those is not like the other. Of course, birds have wings. So I disbalance over here, looking through the mid doors. Not able to find anything just yet, and that's because Gambit youngsters, they've fallen off. They've held this very, very passively, giving up a decent foothold in mid. And instead relying on Inters to hold that from CT. This is looking to be the B play. Supra might have something to say about that, though, and these flashes have done a great job of delaying the push from Team Spirit. Chopper now is the only man remaining from this play into the B site, effectively alone here as he tries to go toe-to-toe with Supra. Oh, the timing. He just skirts behind the box and now looking for this kill, but Supra is the man to deliver. Magic's left up in a 1v2 clutch. 30 seconds on this clock, so time is of the essence. Does have a Molotov to try and force one of these players out into the open, but that is really anything but ideal. And Magix knows that he's going to back on out of this round, concedes a third, puts one on the board for the Gambit youngsters side. And Supra, stellar hold there inside of the site, but a shout out to the rest of the team. Those supportive flashbangs were instrumental to holding that B site down.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, you know, just staying alive for so long as well. Nafany coming in to help. Supra's still on the site, hiding behind the boxes. And that's what you want to be doing if you're on B, right? The second that, you know, everyone is dead inside B, that's often when you can, like, just straight up lose the round. Because if the utility's there, if the numbers are there, Spirit just win it by default. So Supra really stalls things out. He doesn't go wide until he realizes that he's caught a timing onto Chopper alone in B. And Magic's late to the party from Catwalk, so does save the AWP, but it's actually going to be a pause from Gambit youngsters who only just got out of that round by the skin of their teeth. They want something a little more convincing, and certainly going to be necessary if they need this money to continue. Even a costly round that they win can leave them with nothing.
Well, there are several games going around here. We already know that. We've already established that. Now we are at the beginning of a halftime here between Fours and Namiga. You can see that they are very close indeed. The first map of going to Namiga. And then if we start to talk about what's gone on elsewhere, Unique versus Windstrike. Now, mind you, a 16-0 happened there in the first map. So Unique already showing some face here in the second. And that's going to put them a 7th on the board halfway there. And they're just getting started. So are we with another round here between Gambit youngsters and Team Spirit. AWP's out. I disbalance. I deal in balances.
Well, let's see, these balances are high in supply, or if the money is going to be drip dry for Spirit. There's nothing left in the tank, so Spirit really do need to win this round if they want to keep up this streak on the T side. Flash up Cat forces the AWP shot. Nafany going to smoke mid, and Shira's actually going to take first blood before the smoke blooms. Disbalance is looking to trade, but the utility again from Gambit continues to be good. Disbalance tagged, and Inter's looking to force a fight here. He could drop that player. He could finish the job. He's being very loud though, and it's being watched. Doesn't matter. Axel with a kill instead, and 5-on-3. Yeah, Gambit, they make the right call. Back up, give Spirit some room. You've got a huge advantage. You can just tuck into your positions. Spirit, they're looking to, once again, push out from mid, but it doesn't seem like a B split because Magis is long as well.
Oh, and a kill found by Exile over here towards Long onto Magix has left this situation looking more and more grim for Team Spirit as time goes by. Sumdai Young and Mir, the only two players left, and this has really given a lot of freedom to Gambit youngsters. You're going to see Exile looking to take full advantage of that freedom as he goes out through the long doors, trying to come in on a flank here. Now, this does leave a temporary 2-on-2 at the A side of the map, but Shiro locking down the crossroads with the AWP. Sumdai Young alone in a 1v5. He does have this one fight here and now, but there's that flank that we were talking about earlier from Exile. He comes up through the catwalk and puts a 4th round on the board for Gambit youngsters. They take that round in a pretty storming fashion. Only one kill coming through for Team Spirit. And Gambit youngsters really looking to try and get back into the flow of their second map. Putting a 4th up on the board, bringing Team Spirit's economy into question. And this is where they can look to start chaining some rounds together.
Oh dear, this is a fast one for Spirit. Running up catwalk, nothing to lose, everything to gain. They're looking for a bomb plant at best, as they're just going to run the gauntlet into this AWP. Shiro, how many you got, buddy? 1, and the grenade. That should do damage, but he sees a player drop CT. Good grenade. Further one to follow, but they're already on side of the site, and they can get this bomb plant. No one here to stop them. Molotov will kill them after the plant, if the bullets don't. But they will, and iDisbalance is gone as well. It's a clean retake for Gambit. But Spirit got what they wanted, which was just the bomb plant in that round.
Yeah, and you could tell right there, Spirit had an idea too. They wanted to put a guy in the spawn, potentially undetected, perhaps getting himself some of the rotation, or at least biding some more time for Spirit to get the bomb planted. Either way, Shiro proves to be a menace towards the ramp. Does put us at a 6-5. Spirit still holding on to the lead. They're going to be taking guns into this round to try to do so.
While playing the long spawn, he actually gets out. He doesn't even try and take the fight. It's very common to see an AWP just post up on that position, but iDisbalance goes out behind the blue. Will get there successfully, beating the likes of Gambit to the punch. They're going to re-aggress elsewhere. They've lost long, they want cap, but Team Spirit are denying it with a Molotov at their feet, so it will be smoked instead.
iDisbalance smokes off the long cross, and that's going to allow him to set himself up down in the pit. Now, for Gambit youngsters, this denies them this entire avenue of long, right? Shiro is still inside of the site, floating around with this AWP, but he's not in a position to fight pit. And so this gives Team Spirit the foundations to build something off of in this round, right? Like, this is kind of the El Clasico way of playing Dust 2. You get your AWP down in the pit, and you shut off this entire sight line to Gambit youngsters. Now, the response is pretty standard as well, as you push up, you take catwalk, and you try and defend this A site from the cat position. As well as that, you're kind of hoping that Team Spirit elect to throw in a bit of a split, and maybe you can catch 1 or 2 guys moving up the catwalk. This is where you're meant to be holding the line, but instead Chopper calls all of that into question. Shiro gets caught as well, and this cat play has been dismantled from Gambit youngsters. Nafani and Supra, they are in a position where all they can do is save. The A site completely falls apart on the back of losing that long position. And so maybe they get away with the Galil and M4. Certainly not ideal, but it's the best case scenario here for Gambit youngsters.
Yeah, luckily no hunting for a Spirit, right? They've not got money either, so looking to save their own guns. They only just got off that eco round on the A site, so 5 alive at the end of things for Spirit is a profitable position. The AWP is well dragged forward for iDisbalance. They had the option for 2, but with the pace that Spirit is setting in this T side, no real need for 2 AWPs. They've been going for a lot of beat crunches. And iDisbalance, he's certainly getting the job done when required. Not needed in this round to at least get a kill. Spirit up to 7. I like that site smoke as well. Buys a lot of room for Spirit to move. You see Shiro getting more than caught off inside of the site, jumping in with the AWP. Seen him a lot in this series, just, you know, not be ready to get faced, not be ready to get peaked in, you know, like a 1 or 2 second time span. Like, if he does what he does maybe a second earlier, he's fine, but he always seems to find the worst timings. iDisbalance looking again for the long pick, but it's a smoke at the corner. It allows Gambit to fight, and iDisbalance will hang around in the Molotov and take the first man. That's a huge kill. If they wanted, they could just group B right now. That kill is going to force such an adjustment for Gambit that Spirit could just execute into that B bomb site in a 5-on-4.
Yeah, he really has split the defense here, forcing them to focus elsewhere. Meanwhile, they're putting a lot of emphasis here on this Xbox towards Catwalk. They want to try to get their luck going up that way. Spirit can do so, or they could reflex and go back out middle. However, Shiro posted up with AWP. Not going to be quick enough. I disbalanced there, though, to firing a couple more shots in his way, and they're not going to stop there. The pain train keeps on rolling into the A station. And it's going to be a bomb plant here. Only 2 members alive for Gambit. There's about no way on earth they go for this. And they're going to find some contact in the form of S. Sumdai Young in lower. Oh, that's unfortunate. Magix also wants to play. And there we have it. Team Spirit looking to close this half out in stylish fashion.
Yeah, if this goes 10-5, right, it's going to be more than enough work set out for Gambit in that T side. Oh, that's filthy shots.
Yeah, and you know, this is the thing, right? You want to know, like, the key thing for Gambit youngsters in keeping this afloat was the fact that they've usually, in the rounds that they've had to save, have been able to get away with a couple of weapons, right? So that loss bonus combined with that has allowed them to keep fielding these buys to keep this game competitive. So those 2 kills from Magix there over at the car actually have some resounding impact into this round here and now. You know, if you save 2 M4s or an M4 and an AK out of that, rather, you're going to be in a position where those 2 players can drop rifles over. Shiro could have bought his own AWP, and then you would have had a full buy in this round, but you lose them both, and now they've gone for this very, very odd buy. Shiro, Hero, AWP, the rest of the gang on pistols. You're really hoping that the AWP can deliver, and this is going to put a lot of pressure on Shiro as well, and as a result, we see him trying to take this early peak to pick up a man advantage.
Yeah, this is a real risk for Gambit, and I imagine the thought process behind it is Nafany wants to drop an AWP moving into the last round of the half, assuming nothing goes right here for Gambit, right? But Shiro won't be able to buy him back, so it's a big investment, it's a big risk, but like you said, the reward, well, that can make up for it. Let's see if there is any reward for Shiro, because there's nothing around him, no utility to get him into angles. And once again, when Spirit have long like this, they can just commit. So Shiro might be in a position where a save is the best call he can make, but he is inside of the site, and he's already losing teammates. Axile's gone, no trade. That was the kill. That was a shot that could have kept Gambit in this round, but iDisbalance now still stands tall, and he knows what he's up against as well. Shiro moves into a position where he can at least take a shot and peel off and save this gun, and that might be needed as Spirit get close towards A.
Yeah, we need a hero. Oh, are we going to get one in Shiro? It's in the name, so let's see if it appears in the game as well. Supra digging down Sumdai Young on the cross. iDisbalance him with a response of his own. And now the bomb plant coming in. Mir dealing with the man at Gandalf. Now leaves Shiro in a bit of an awkward spot. Ooh. However, another D kill coming on in. Gambit youngsters are more than interested in how this might pan out if they go for it. They'll drop Shiro down into CT, and time ticking off of this bomb. If Gambit youngsters do want to attempt the 2-on-2, they've got to be decisive in it. They've got to commit. And iDisbalance traded 1 for 1. Leave Shiro now versus Mir, but so much time ticked off for this bomb, and the indecisiveness making it take even longer. Shiro's just going to try and hold on to the AWP. Mir manages to get this one done by just being in the server. His presence alone is enough. Now, if he takes this AWP away from Shiro, that's going to be devastating. And he does. How? God. Ouch. Shiro lands so many great shots as well in that round, and the one shot he had to hit ends up being a miss.
Yeah, now, luckily enough, as said, Nafany can drop that AWP over, and Shiro swaps it back with an SMG, so it's still fine for Gambit. They can buy, but they could have had so much more here. And really, that AWP in the previous round, like, if you're not going for the round win, it's almost not worth it, because it does nothing to the economy. They get 4 kills. Spirit have everything. They have all the money. They can buy up, and they have change as well. So, yeah, like the AWP doesn't really do anything for Gambit there, but it has to here. Last round of the half, Spirit in a commanding lead, but Axel will take the first kill in this round. That's something. Long control is lost for Spirit, and that's been so good for them in this game. Shiro always been spotted. It goes both ways. The feet are there, but he won't get given a second chance. He's going to see the barrel of the gun if he goes any wider. Hello. Knows there's someone here now. Oh dear, it's a jiggle, it's a swing, and iDisbalance spots him. The smoke's going to hit Shiro. He's got to fall back. Axel, meanwhile, has doubled up from the A side of things in the pit, and there's still players on the site for Spirit to deal with. They're trying to cross towards it from Catwalk. Young getting pressure, getting shot at. Molotov, even at his feet, can't cross any further. This is a bit of a reckless round for Spirit. I don't know if they'll be able to get anything done here. Itis Balance looking to cut off a B player. They could try and rotate back with the bomb, but that's being optimistic at best, and Supra has already spotted this. A player from the flank should have his number, and that's the half locked and loaded. 5 alive. Gambit do take 6 at the end of things at least. Let's see if they can close things out, or if we're going to a 2-0 for Spirit. Join us in just a moment.
Yes, yes, y'all, and we will not stop. Not anytime soon, at least. We got Gambit Youngsters and Spirit. Now, Spirit picking up the first map. They win this one. They close the series out, and then we start to turn our attention towards the Ninjas in Pajamas versus the Danes in Astralis. Swede on Dane violence. You do hate to see it. Nonetheless, it's all digital. No one gets hurt in the making. Welcome back, everybody, to the ESL 1 Road to Rio. Harry and Hugo are going to be joining me here. We are ready to kick this one off. Looks like an early B play, fast B play at that from the Gambit Youngsters. They've really taken the fight to Spirit.
Yeah, SDY tried to play close, but before he even got close, the flash came through the rafters, and I love that from Gambit. You see so many teams, you know, having to take ages to set up their utility. Gambit have an incredibly fast flashbang that comes through the rafters and does a lot of work towards Spirit on the site. Both players blind, and Gambit make quick work of them. And yeah, pistol, done, locked and loaded. Nothing Spirit can do about retaking this one.
And if you are Gambit, you're feeling pretty good about taking this pistol, right? Because, you know, the opposite is that you lose it. You see Spirit go up to 10. And following a conversion round that, let's just assume Spirit would win, that really does start to roll downhill.
Yeah, I mean, that's the game and the series more than likely closed at that point. So Gambit, it was a necessity to take the pistol here. And it does put them in a position where Mirage, you know, is seeming more and more viable by the second. But this is still not their map pick. We know Spirit have depth, and they're already showing us that. But the start is there. 7 rounds for Gambit. The armor survives as well. It makes upgrades cheap, really only for Nafany, but it's still a good deal, a good discount as Spirit look to force the issue into the second round. Mir's certainly bored up. We'll see how much Spirit will put into this. I imagine just de-armor. Idis Balance, he can either save for the AWP or he can go for a scout. He's actually going to drop a FAMAS. I like that as well. More and more rifles per player here for Spirit. And the spy's decent. 2 scouts, a FAMAS, 2 pistols. What can they do with it?
Well, looking like they just want to go for a Hail Mary B play, and there is only one man here in the form of Chopper, so a good chance the Gambit youngsters are able to just get into this site and get that bomb down. And at this point in time, this could be just a 5-man save from Team Spirit, right? Give this buy a go in the follow-up round. You'd have that much more around it, and yeah, that looks to be the decision. They back out, they go away, they give up the bomb site. And this should be an 8th on the board for Gambit youngsters. Now, Team Spirit likely going to look to take these guns away, right? And try and put them in their own hands. They'll set up back here in T-spawn. Because at the same time that it's kind of like worth the risk of taking some of the weapons away, potentially arming yourself, you don't want to have committed to a 5-man save and then end up losing 3 players trying to hunt at the very end, right? This is a round that you've already written off. And Mir, the only man with a weapon, pushing into the tunnels now.
Oh, he might get an AK here. Look to his left. He's not going to check it, though. The sound on the right side of the car is enough, and that's hilarious. Mir thinks he has the drop on them. I like the idea, though, right? Like, look at the health of Gambit. They save all inside of B, and, you know, that's information that Spirit have, because this balance was on the car, and he can see that no one's exiting ramp. So Mir wants to kill the players, or at least, you know, go full Doja, do some damage, 50 health across all of them, and they're going to die to bomb. But he doesn't check the corner. Yeah.
That's a scary thing right there.
You know, throw the grenade in the pit.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The bomb do the work. But, you know, Axel's ready for it. And Axel, he's had a hell of a game. 17 and 8. He has been the hero of Gambit. And coming into this T side as well, him and Shiro looking to do more heavy lifting. It's a B play again in this round. Spirit, oh, it's going to be a bail. They run at it, they hear some flashes, and they dive out. And that's lucky for them. 3 players here and a 4th in middle. It's a stack for Spirit.
Ooh, Idis Balance, just waiting down here in mid, and you have that little smoke thrown to cover the cross up onto the Xbox. Gambit youngsters trying to slip by, trying to go in between each shot of the scout, and they do manage to get up onto the cat. That's at least this hold with the bomb reinforced a little bit. And as you touched upon, Team Spirit, they've stacked the B bomb site. Magix is alone here at A. And dropping down was not what he wanted to do. This might be another 5-man save here for Team Spirit if this A play comes in. That kill, though, from Idis Balance now makes things a bit more interesting, because suddenly for Gambit youngsters, they're left considering, you know, is A going to be the right choice? They're now a man down. They don't want to walk blindly into a stacked site. And so they will start to recommit over here towards A now. They get Inters up onto the catwalk as well. Shiro's going to look to join the rest of the gang. And as long as they keep this trajectory, as long as they get into the site, this should still be an all-right round for the youngsters. Chopper not able to find anything with his Deeg. Perhaps uncharacteristically so. Usually very proficient with that weapon. And it is just a mow down a catwalk. 1 by 1. They feed the beast. And Magix dinked on up. Should get finished off here. Trying to get away, trying to run. The old saying, you can run, you can't hide, and that's true. He tries to tuck himself in down towards CT and get shut out of the round.
That he will. Looks as though we have a ball game on our hands. Stronghold there, Inters. And this is what Gambit youngsters need to get back into this game. Be it losing the first map does not mean that they are out of it by any stretch of the imagination. 9-9 should tell you that. Mirage will be what settles the series should we need to go there. Real quick play down middle from the side of Gambit Youngsters, trying to get some nades out in front of the Spirit side, perhaps flashing them off of a few positions. And as of right now, mid doors are vulnerable, but Team Spirit are going to be there with the response.
Oh, that's a nice little grenade.
Meaty.
Yeah, it can be so dangerous to be playing inside the long doors. It's like a an airlock for artillery. And well, you leave the airlock and that's what happens. Idis Balance, he's waiting on the other side. He won't let you go much further. Cat smoke is not down here, and that's often a necessity coming through this position. They're going to smoke it late. The molly pushes Chopper back, but Supra's been tagged in the meantime. Idis Balance almost hits that shot. Supra ducks below. There's still 2 long players that have since bailed, but they need this A site and they haven't got it. It's going to have to be a B bail for Gambit as they run right through the tunnels. It's a good timing. Spirit are fully rotated, but they've started to realize that this one ain't what it seems. Chopper doesn't know if they're in already. He's got to play safe. That smoke will make it clear, but he can just go through it. He can risk it. The flash is good, and he is in their face. Great call from Spirit. Flashing in there, beating them to the punch, and not letting them plant. Has left Inter spotted in middle. He's dropped the orb, but how much further can he really go?
Yeah, only 30 seconds left on the clock as well. Now, there is a timing in where there's only Chopper here at the B-bomb site, and that opens up a potential 1v1 to regain some map control for Gambit Youngsters. Inters, though, 15 seconds. If he is going to attempt this, it's got to be now. And slow walking into the crosshair of Chopper. Not what he expected. A 10th round on the board for Team Spirit. They find their first when these rifles come into play. A reinvestment for Gambit Youngsters. But this is where you do not want that lead to start to slip away from you, or not necessarily lead. I guess the fact that they've been able to equalize this out, find the conversions, pick up that momentum, and that can all get stripped away on the back of losing this round, because suddenly you've got no money, you're having to take an eco at 11-9 in favor of Team Spirit, and that's where things really do start to get a little bit scary for the youngsters on the other side. Inter's getting burnt down very low by that Molotov. So much damage done on the back of the utility. Exile's burnt out of the round. And 2 players down on sub 20 HP here alongside. This has been a great start for Team Spirit. That utility has done them well, and it's sent Gambit packing.
He's got a chopper in the car. And the Fanny's got, well, he's got all the room to run out middle. And the only one there currently to contest him would be Mir. He's going to start to back towards B. He realizes that if he falls, B site is compromised. The rest of the Gambit youngsters working their way up catwalk, 3 deep with the bomb. 2 of their players just below 20 HP. Group up, stick together. They're going to leave Nafny in place. Catch one of these rotations, make their lives just a little bit easier. Chopper still posted up at long, but this op from Idis Balance is going to get just absolutely bamboozled by Supra's AK. Hell of a shot right there.
Yeah, Supra has been looking real good, right? That was the case back on Overpass, and that's even translating across now. Nafny missing a timing, but now coming on in. Sumdai Young is not going to be ready for that, although somehow he is ready for that. Exactly ready for that. Turns around, deals with Nafny on the wraparound, and suddenly you're back into this round. Mir doubling up, Shiro cut down, and it's Mir delivering 3. Defuse going to come through. Team Spirit, an 11th round on the board. And my word, that one looked like it was a done deal. Gambit youngsters, they were 4-on-3 when that bomb went down. They had a mid flank coming in.
It was they had a great setup here for the Gambit youngsters. You know, to get that player out middle, he's done his job. He's done everything he needs to do up to timing, just doesn't hit the shot. That creates a problem. You look a little bit past that, and it's all this room that they were giving up catwalk, and it's just squandered away almost. Spirit with this round, Mir, a big driving force of it, 11-9. Spirit want to close it out here. They don't want to see any third maps. They ain't got no time for that.
Well, with 2 CT rounds in a row, they've at least done the building blocks, but now it's about the easy rounds, quote-unquote, because Gambit on pistols. We saw them get a cat rush with Glocks and no util. They got a bomb plant. Will the utils slow them down here, if anything? They should go fast and furious with the flashes. Idis Balance push back. He's going to re-scope up for 1. Each player try to cross towards a site and get the plant. Some can stay cat to cut off the rotate, but bomb is allowed here by Spirit. Oh, That's a 2 HP AWP shot. Finally finished off. iDisbalance gets in the next time around and dropping into the spawn while the flashes are good. The guns just are not. And Spirit outclass, outarm the likes of Gambit in this round. It's going to be a retake.
And our first game of this group, the ESL 1 Road to Rio, has closed. Winstrike and Unique. Obviously, after getting 16-0'd in the first map, it just really wasn't on the cards for Unique today. That's quite unique if you think about a 16-7 scoreline on Vertigo, where Winstrike walk away with that one. Now, that's not the only
it ended 16-7?
Yeah.
My goodness, mate, when we tuned in earlier, it was like 7-6 in favor of Unique. So, now, that really turned around.
Now, also, Nemiga have beat Fours. Now, we put Fours up there pretty high on the list of teams within this region, but they're going to take their first L here in this bracket. They're going to do it to Nemiga.
Well, let's see who will be taking the L in Dust 2. Nafany getting tagged by the AWP. Not killed, luckily enough, down to 50. Chopper close in mid. He's hoping the AWP will bait them into taking a fight here, or at least peering through the door. Oh, they climb up, and they beat him to the battle. Supra takes an advantage here for Gambit in this round. That's an important kill to find. Spirit have limited utility in this round, and they're getting rid of it more by the second. Molotov's going into B. But that's not where this play looks to end up, at least not yet. With a player peeling back from long, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Gambit drop off Cat after throwing util and go back towards B, but let's see. Because Catwalk is theirs, and Long is going to be under consideration by Spirit. Bit of a run boost over. Mir getting close to middle. This is a dangerous play with the AWP, but Magis has pushed Long. They now know it's an A play. They found a second. How has this happened for Spirit? In the blink of an eye, an advantage for Gambit flipped on their heads, and they're walking into the AWP that waits in the side of Long. iDisbalance with one, and the bomb gets planted. But again, Spirit have been so good at these A-side retakes.
Nafany dropping a interesting smoke here. Allows him to take a little peek into CT and still keeps his vision relatively obscured. You're going to need a huge performance, though, from him and Shiro. Half the time ticked off this bomb. And that's where Team Spirit look to make their first and maybe their last move here. They get that one done nice and quickly. Magic's coming in with 3. And a 13th now gracing the board for Team Spirit. It's kind of similar to Overpass in that the moment these sides have switched up and we see it, go the other way with Gambit being on this T side and Team Spirit CT half, they just start to outclass them in such a big way, right? It might have gotten off to a good start for Gambit, but since the rifles have come in, Team Spirit have gone flawless.
Well, yeah, what's important to remember as well, it's not just the individuals, but it's a team play. Those flashes coming back into the site, 3 rounds in a row on A have been excellent for Spirit. Fully blinding Shiro. He had a position where he could drop Magic's on the corner with the AWP, but he can't even see him as the kill comes through. Spirit have been really, really good at setting up utility for their teammates. Now, well, talk about utilities lacking for Gambit. They've had to force a buy into this round, but it's going to leave them with not a lot if they do lose it. iDisbalance, that flash avoids him. The grenade clips the corner, and he's going to have to take drive fight. He sees them. He knows they're in position, but he's going to walk into the scope. He's ready, and Nafany loses his head through the ground. Oh, dear. That's not the kill you want if you're Gambit. And Spirit has started off with a man advantage. Look at the amount of control they have as well. They know it's not B. They've cleared lower, and they're flanking Catwalk with an AWP. This doesn't make sense, and Mir is sending them out of this series. iDisbalance, Chopper, everyone's had their moment in this one. And Axile, what a great score coming into the T side. He was, 17-8? He is now 17-14.
Good grief. I mean, it just seems like every step of the way where Gambit youngsters, they make the right calls. They're in the right place with the right tools. Wearing the right uniform at the right time. And it just turns back around on them. Time and time again. There's so many opportunities for this Gambit youngster squad. But, well, it's just not going their way. And sometimes it be like that.
Also, I think you just helped give them like an accidental nickname in the Gamsters. I like
Gamsters.
That. Mir going for the no-scope. Obviously, not intentional. Looked like he unscoped just a little too soon and then shot.
Style points.
But imagine if that landed. Would have been sick, wouldn't it? Goes toe-to-toe with Shiro down here in mid. It does get tagged by that scout. Suddenly, the AWP challenge in mid is no longer a prospect here for Team Spirit. Chopper has moved in to offer some assistance and maybe some resistance. but they'll leave mid and start to hedge their bets over here towards the B bomb site.
And this is something Spirit have been so good at, reading. Even back on Overpass, they constantly had CTE triple stacks on that A site when Gambit went there. They just knew what was going on, and they've read this well. Gambit have gone for like 3 or 4 cat plays in a row now. We've had 3 retakes on A in the last 5 rounds, so of course they're going to eventually go B, and now is the time to shine for Team Spirit as they stack up inside of this site. 2 for SDY, and he's looking to clean up the round. He will. 15 for Spirit. Gambit might just be a round away from a loss here in this best of 3. No Mirage.
Not necessary, as it stands. The way this works is one team gets to 16, and they win a map. And the idea here is to win 2 out of 3 maps. And if that takes you 3 maps to win 2 out of 3 maps, then perhaps so be it.
So be it.
Doesn't look to be the case here. Spirit trying to close the door on the Gambit youngsters, set a precedence in this CIS bracket.
Yeah, and that's a good sign, right, as well. Spirit, we talk about top teams in the group, and I haven't really been mentioning them because I want to see where Spirit are coming into this this season. But, you know, alongside Na'Vi, Fours, and VP, the name up there is Spirit, right? The other team that's not only higher in the rankings than VP, number 19, but, you know, up for the task of making it through this group, undoubtedly. So Spirit definitely going to be a team to look out for, and Gambit are figuring that out the hard way.
Oh, Gamsters. Magic gonna drop the smoke and a Molotov here just to try to defend his honor at ramp and also grab some kills with his AK. Might as well at that point, right? Idis Balance, known to be a little bit lethal. Somehow Magix gets a kill from beyond the grave with the Molotov. And already this flank is here. The Gambit youngsters have absolutely no idea, but this round is a little out of their take. It's on Shiro's shoulders with this quick flank. He can find Idis Balance, makes it easy, and almost does Idis Balance turn around.
Ooh.
I say all of this, 2v2.
Yeah, Mir is not in a great spot either. He's got to try and do this from a very unideal position. He's helped out there by Chopper winning a fight onto Supra. Shiro now in the hot seat, and he knows that Mir is floating around down towards CT and Elevator. Mir is just remaining hidden.
Oh.
Chopper has this round and this game dead to rights. It's 16-9. Team Spirit, they're able to best them on Dust 2 as well. It was 16-8 earlier on Overpass, and now Dust 2 going in favor of Team Spirit. They take this series in a 2-0 fashion, but stick around because we've got more games and some analysis of that series coming up after a quick break. So we'll be back in just a moment.
Like I'm stuck in a daydream, and you're not here to save me. Down and out, I hit the floor. Honest, fair and love and war, but I can't do this anymore. No, no. So take me to a place I know, somewhere I can feel my soul. Lately I'm skin and bone, so hollow. I never feel so alone. You need you more than you know. Feel like home. I've been reminiscing the late nights. We'd fall in love in the moonlight. Don't break up a song back. Now I'm just thinking that we should go back to when we were. Hold each other to feel good. Down and out, I hit the floor. Honest, fair and love and war. But I can't do this anymore. No, no. So take me to a place I know, somewhere where I can feel my soul. Lately Lately I'm skin and bone, so hollow. I've never felt so alone. I need you more than you know. 'Cause baby, you feel like home. Take me to a place I know, somewhere I can feel my soul. Lately I'm skin and bone, so hollow. I've never felt so alone. I need you more than you know. 'Cause baby, you feel like home.
It's hopeless when you think that you lost. Oh, I will take your hand and we'll rise up from the dust. Oh, here we go, 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 let us heal and grow. You won't be alone, we're unstoppable. Don't be afraid to show what we're going for. This is what we know. Here we come back to life, we're still breathing. Standing up, everybody's gonna see it. Oh, all you need to know is that we're holding.
Welcome back, everybody. This, well, is the end of the series. We do have the conclusion of our first match right here. Gambit Youngsters unable to top Team Spirit, 16-9 on this last map. And, of course, it was a quick 2-0 here as we begin to jump into our Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel post-match. And, of course, that is by Mountain Dew. These lovely products right here. Now, my name is Trace. Alongside me is Harry and Hugo. And we're ready to talk some of the nitty-gritty about the beginnings of what is this CIS bracket. Guys, what have we seen in this matchup that we liked better yet from the Gambit Youngsters, even though they've lost?
Yeah, you know, I think Gambit Youngsters showed like some promise in the server, right? Like you look at it and you look at the team they were against, they were definitely coming into this as the underdogs, right? And I still think they were able to put up a pretty good showing in the server. We had like some real bright moments, right? That you think about the likes of Shiro, for example, Supra as well, with someone who is stepping up. We have his highlights just rolling on in. He had a lot of them, especially in that Dust 2 game, right? I think that's kind of what we have to look at, is that on a level of like, how they approach the game, I feel like there's still a bit to be worked on there. And I feel like we didn't necessarily get to see Gambit Youngsters bringing everything into the server. But I do think on like an individual level, right, we have a lot of promise in the sense that these guys were stepping up on that individual basis.
Yeah, sure. I'm just impressed by Spirit, and it does leave me with confidence to see them at the top four of this group, like alongside Na'Vi, alongside Forza, alongside VP. You know, Spirit, of course, joining that ranks. I think they have been a proven team in the past under multiple rosters, and with this one, I think this is the most exciting, right? Sun Young being the longest-standing member of this team currently. We've got the old dogs, we've got the new boys on the block. It's a nice mix of fresh blood and kind of old blood as well. So, yeah, Spirit, I'm looking forward to them making a bit of a run here on the road to Rio.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what else they can put up along their path that is on the Rio. And of course, when we talk about Team Spirit, there's one man that really always sticks out to me, really always puts himself out there to us in terms of just giving us the time of day. We have Sumdai Young in the studio. Sumdai Young, can you hear me, my friend?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. I feel like it's been a while. I think we probably saw each other in Malta last, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, once upon a time. Hey, man, so you guys joining the server today. You beat up on Gambit Youngsters. What did you guys think about the Gambit Youngsters and this Gambit project before you came into the match today?
I think it's a really cool project because they get young guys and pull them together. They have some strategy, but I think they need a bit more work towards team play. They have great individuals.
Sumdai. Oh, sorry. I thought you finished that.
You go, wow.
Yeah, no, my bad.
It's fine.
Inside of your team, for a while, you were viewed as this young, upcoming player, and to a sense, you still are. But you've got a guy who's only 16 years old in the form of Magix as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this guy as an upcoming player, how you found him, how you brought him into this team, and how you think he's performing.
He got this guy from Espada. We bought him, and I think he's a really insane aimer. Like his aim skill is on another level, and he's taking good place in the team for now, and he's finding himself for sure. So I think he will be better and better and better by time.
I was kind of curious, when we look at the rest of the CIS division, I feel like a lot of people are putting you up there with the names like Navi, like Forz, and VP, right? Specifically about those three teams, how do you feel you guys are going to stack up against them, and where do you view yourself in this CIS bracket?
I think we are pretty confident in our game. If we stick to our plan and everything going okay, it's fine. If we got some mistakes, we fix it after, and after this, it will go fine anyway. So it's how it works.
Well, let me ask a little bit about that then, because you're talking about, we have mistakes and we look to fix them there. What is the process of identifying or seeing a mistake for what it is and then going about fixing it? Can you explain to us and the viewers at home how that would work inside your team?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. We come to our training time, download demos, watch it together, find the mistakes that we need to fix, and fixing it by talking each other. The whole team is talking always, like not a coach or our captain Chopper. So we're working with the whole team all the time.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's nice to know. It's also nice to know that you guys are on that cohesive level. Not many teams can actually hold to that as well. So, Sumdai Young, I want to congratulate you on your W here. I want to ask you real quick on our way out. Between the Ninjas and Pajamas and Astralis, who would you have?
Oh, I think I will go with Neep this time.
Ooh. Okay. Ooh. Wild predictions there, and some do die young, but perhaps that won't happen to either of us. Thank you for your time. Congratulations. We will be seeing you around, my friend. And on that note, that brings me to the next talking point.
Yeah.
Astralis versus Nip. That's going to be a little bit, though. We got a little bit of time there. Putting a close to this one is what we're going to do, and I think we should head out. Remind you that there's a little bit of a break. You're going to see the timer in the bottom of your screen, and then we're going to jump right into the Swedes versus the Danes for the ESL 1 Road to Rio when we return. Make sure you join us when we come back.
What's your style? Get your merch at shop.eslgaming.com.
To be brilliant is to defy convention and challenge expectations. So Intel will bring the processing power for when it's time to go brilliant. Frame rates that keep up with your reflexes. Brilliant. Fast clock speeds for when you're on the clock. Brilliant. It's what we do at Intel, powering you to master your potential. Will you rise? Intel. Unleash your brilliance.
Last year, we took 2 lucky winners on a trip to Berlin and gave them the experience of a lifetime. This year, we can take you for a trip to Rio. Take part in a series of GG.bet contests for a chance to win awesome prizes and a trip to Rio. See details on the website.
Rise up and we find the path that we believe in.
passports, baby. Leave the rest in our troubled minds. Let us go down in laughter, baby. Trying to figure out what we're after. We never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after. Book a plane, fly away. We will never be the same. And as long as you are mine, come on and run away. We wanna run away. We don't need any reasons, baby. Leave it all for the faded hearts. I don't mind if they call us crazy, 'cause they don't understand what we're after. We never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching,